Chapter 459. Xiao Chun flicked his finger and sent out an extremely dense strand of purple thunder true fire. Then, he ignored Yun Ping and quickly chased after the black-clothed man. The purple fire pierced through the back of Yun Ping's head. Yun Ping's eyes lost their color as he fell heavily to the ground. Two strands of red light flew out from the two corpses and chased after the fleeing Xiao Chun. Then they entered his sea of consciousness. The pool of blood in the Scarlet Throne had increased in size. At the same time, the intoxicating pleasure appeared. Xiao Chen's gaze was resolute. He did not hesitate to cut off this disharmonious feeling and continued to chase after the black-clothed man. Xiao Chen's spiritual sense could sense that the black-clothed man was moving at 3 times the speed of sound. Given Xiao Chen's current speed of 5 times the speed of sound, he would catch up soon. However, the downtown area was not far away. There were many experts in Desolate City. Xiao Chun was afraid of attracting unnecessary trouble, so he planned to block the black-clothed man. Lightning evasion. Lightning evasion. Lightning evasion. Xiao Chun ignored the exhaustion of his essence and mental energy. Bolts of lightning crackled on the vast land as lightning descended. Xiao Chun moved like he was teleporting. He advanced continuously, slowly closing the distance between him and the black-clothed man. Thunder roared endlessly, and the black-clothed man could not help but turn his head to take a look. It would have been fine if he had not looked. However, when he looked, he was even more astonished. Every time a bolt of lightning descended, Xiao Chen's figure would appear together with it. The distance between him and Xiao Chun shortened rapidly. The black-clothed man was startled. What movement technique is this? Why does it seem like teleportation? Boom! A bolt of lightning descended in front of him. Xiao Chen's figure suddenly appeared before him. The black-clothed man quickly turned his head around and took a few steps back. His right hand grasped the hilt of his sword tightly. Xiao Chun pointed his saber at the black-clothed man and shouted coldly, "Hiding your head but showing your tail. Who exactly are you?" "You don't need to know who I am. All you need to know is that sooner or later, I will come and take your high-class monster core." The man in black calmed himself down inside in his heart. It seemed that he had to use his trump card today. Holy fire burns the heavens. With a light shout, the black-clothed man quickly formed a seal with his hands. His abdomen and dantian suddenly became transparent. A wisp of pale white flame quickly burned in the dantian as the black-clothed man formed hand seals. Boom! When the hand seal was completely formed, pale white flames immediately surged out of his body, forming a white flame vortex that rushed toward Xiao Chun. The flames were incomparably cold. The moment they appeared, the surrounding temperature plummeted, causing everyone to feel a bone-piercing chill. It was as if their blood was being frozen. What a strong extremine flame, Xiao Chun thought to himself. It looks like I have to use the purple thunder true fire to block it. Before an ordinary saber move could even get close, this extremine flame would burn it into ice shards. With a thought, a fierce purple flame quickly burned in Xiao Chen's right eye. Soon it formed a purple whirlpool and spewed out. Bang! In the dark night, the purple whirlpool and the white whirlpool quickly clashed with each other. The two flames did not give way to each other, but they restrained each other. The moment they came into contact, they intertwined intensely, trying to swallow each other up. However, the two whirlpools were evenly matched. Neither could do anything to the other. They could only mix together and eventually explode. The surging shockwaves spread out in all directions. A deep spiral-shaped pit appeared in the ground. A few strands of cold wind blew out of it. When the shockwaves struck the two, their complexions paled. However, Xiao Chen's physical body was strong. He could endure it much better than his opponent. If Xiao Chun suffered the same blow, he would not be as severely injured as his opponent. Xiao! The whirlpool scattered, and a strand of purple flame flew toward Xiao Chun. That was the purple thunder true fire's origin flame. On the other side, the extremine flame's origin flame also slowly flew toward the black-clothed man. Glittering Wukuei. Qi breaks Wukuei. Wukuei transforms to Qi. Xiao Chun felt excited. This is a good opportunity. Without waiting for the purple thunder true fire's origin flame to enter his eye, Xiao Chun immediately attacked the black-clothed man. Xiao Chun quickly executed the 3 foundational moves of the Wukuei saber technique in a short time. A chain of purple saber chi flickered with crackling electric light. Each wave was stronger than the one before as they attacked the black-clothed man. The black-clothed man focused on controlling the origin flame and absorbing it into his body. After all, that was an origin flame. He had refined it for 10-odd years before succeeding. If 10-odd years of hard work were lost, any cultivator would despair. The black-clothed man originally thought that Xiao Chun would be like him, focusing on absorbing his origin flame. Who knew this fellow did not play by the rules? Xiao Chun directly gave up on retrieving his origin flame and took the initiative to attack. This made the black-clothed man feel like vomiting blood. The saber chi surged. Caught off guard, the black-clothed man got a few bloody wounds from the purple saber chi. The purple electric light instantly poured into the black-clothed man's body, giving off a crackling sound. The black-clothed man's wounds felt incredibly painful, and his movements immediately slowed. While you are down, I will take your life. After gaining the initiative, Xiao Chun did not spare the black-clothed man. His aura soared into the sky, and his chi and blood surged endlessly. Xiao Chun executed the extremely tyrannical Wuxia shakes the heavens again. The divine Wuxia tree suddenly appeared, carrying the force of thunder. It pressed down on the black-clothed man like a 5-ton cauldron. Bang! The black-clothed man received this move head-on and went flying back. He vomited a mouthful of blood, and his clothes immediately became tattered. Xiao Chun, consider it my loss today. However, as long as you remain in this ancient desolate land, I will take back what you owe me 10-fold, 100-fold. The black-clothed man looked at the drifting white origin flame with extreme dissatisfaction. After leaving behind these words, he quickly left this place. Xiao Chun sheathed his saber and did not give chase. He had already guessed this person's identity. It was the Holy Fire Manor's Lung Yun. From the moment Lung Yun mentioned the peak high-rank Blood Demon's demon core, Xiao Chun had already suspected it. When he saw the pale white extreme flame, Xiao Chun was certain of his suspicions. If Xiao Chun gave chase now, he was 90% confident of finishing off this person tonight. However, when he saw the white origin flame floating beside him, Xiao Chun completely gave up on chasing after him. The earlier fight was too intense. It had already attracted the attention of some people. If Xiao Chun gave chase, he would lose these two origin flames. The losses outweighed the gains. Xiao Chun retrieved his origin flame into his right eye. Then he used his spiritual sense to wrap around Lung Yun's origin flame, and placed it in his sea of consciousness. After Xiao Chun did all that, he quickly left this place and headed for his courtyard. 10 minutes later, Xiao Chun arrived in front of his courtyard. The moment he stepped in, his expression suddenly turned strange. For some reason, the 4 lunar true flames that originally existed in Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness all tangled with each other and started fighting with all their might. The 4 even paler lunar true flames in Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness headed for the extreme Yin flame's origin flame. They quickly tangled with each other, trying to swallow up the origin flame. Looking at the situation, it was as if 4 slightly weak middle-aged men were besieging a strong young man. The youth was stronger, but the middle-aged men outnumbered him. When they surrounded him, they held the advantage. The fluctuations in Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness were caused by the intense resistance of the origin flame. Although it did not have any intelligence, it instinctively did not want to be swallowed up by the lunar true flames. When Xiao Chun saw this scene, he entered deep thought. Among the Yin flames, the flames were also divided into different grades. There were the extreme Yin flame, the extreme Yin flame, and the lunar true flame. Of the 3, the lunar true flame was the highest. It was as famous as the extreme solar true flame. As for the legendary heavenly flame, it was said that it could only be resisted by perfectly merging the lunar true flame and the solar true flame. However, Yin and Yang were 2 opposing energies. Even the lowest grade heavenly flame would cause an intense explosion. It was even more difficult to merge the highest grade lunar true flame and solar true flame. This was why the heavenly emperor had been able to use his powerful martial techniques, and the heavenly flame to sweep through the world unrivaled. Now it looked like energies of the same attribute could swallow and merge with each other to strengthen themselves. With a thought, Xiao Chun decided to help the lunar true flame. After all, the lunar true flame was of a higher grade. Furthermore, it was a flame that Xiao Chun needed to refine equipment in the future. It would be unreasonable not to protect it. Xiao Qian's spiritual sense turned into small, sharp arrows and pierced into the origin flame in his sea of consciousness. Then he started to slice the origin flame apart. The origin flame's advantage was its high density. Hence, it could not be swallowed up by the lunar true flame. Now that Xiao Qian scattered the density of the origin flame, the 4 strands of lunar true flame immediately found an opportunity to quickly swallow it up. As time slowly passed, the power of the origin flame grew weaker, while the lunar true flame grew stronger. It would not be long before it completely devoured the origin flame. Xiao! The space in Xiao Qian's sea of consciousness trembled slightly. The lunar true flame finally swallowed up the origin flame. The 5 strands of lunar true flame turned into 1 strand of lunar true flame. With a thought, Xiao Qian summoned out the brand new lunar true flame. Then he placed it on his palm and looked at it carefully. The pale white flame floated above Xiao Qian's palm. It looked no different from before. However, there was a rice grain-sized bright spot in the center of the flame. In the past, the lunar true flame was just 4 strands of flame without an origin flame of its own. Now it finally had one. It could be considered a true lunar true flame. Although that origin flame was pitifully small, almost negligible, Xiao Qian was very satisfied. He had not expected to have such an unexpected gain tonight. Everything was difficult at the beginning. With a foundation, there was no need to fear that it would not grow stronger. He finally had some progress on refining the origin flame. Xiao Qian returned the lunar true flame to his sea of consciousness again. Then he muttered, "The holy fire manor is famous for its holy fire. Perhaps there really is an extremine flame seed there. If there is an opportunity, I should go and take a look." After dealing with the 2 corpses in the courtyard, Xiao Qian entered his bedroom and lit an oil lamp. Under the flickering flame, he continued to read Bai Lixi's cultivation notes. When it was late at night, Xiao Qian started to struggle to keep his eyelids open. He had not had a good night's sleep for the past few days. He could no longer endure it and fell asleep on the table. Chi-chi. It was unknown when, but the melodious chirping of a bird resounded outside the house. Xiao Qian slowly woke up from his deep sleep. The glaring sunlight shone through the cracks of the door and window. Piercing sunlight shone through the cracks in the door and window. Xiao Qian's eyes narrowed as he spat out a long breath of turbid air. Then he stretched his body and felt refreshed. Chapter 460. I have not slept so well in a long time. Unexpectedly, it is already noon. It is time to go out and find a fist technique. In a restaurant in the city, Xiao Qian ordered a table full of food and wine. Then he called a waiter over and tossed a bag containing hundreds of inferior-grade spirit stones to him. The underground market of the ancient desolate land. Do you know where to go? When the waiter saw the heavy bag, he smiled happily and said, "Is young hero going to take something out or sell something?" Xiao Qian put down his wine cup and asked, "Is there a difference?" The waiter smiled and said, "There is no difference. The place is the same. However, if you are going to sell something, you have to go to the Heavenly Extermination Union to register. It seems like this is your first time coming to Desolate City. I'm afraid you will take the wrong path." Xiao Qian felt relieved and said, "It's fine. I am not going to sell anything. Just tell me how to get there." The waiter said, "After you leave the shop, head west. There will be a lake in the middle of the city. We call it the Hidden Dragon Lake. The underground market is at the bottom of the lake." After Xiao Qian finished his food and wine, he left the shop and immediately flew west. There were many cultivators in the air. Occasionally, Xiao Qian would run into some cultivators rushing around without any fear. He did not want to invite any unnecessary trouble, so he increased his height by a kilometer. Only then did he have much more peace and quiet. The higher he flew, the more essence he exhausted. If there was nothing urgent, most cultivators would not fly more than a kilometer. Xiao Qian's vision immediately widened. Suddenly, he discovered that there seemed to be a pagoda behind the many buildings in the distance. There were 5 sharp corners protruding from the top of the pagoda. A formless spiritual energy soared into the sky from the tip of the pagoda. It scattered the clouds and formed a semicircle of empty space. Xiao Qian muttered, "Is this the ancient desolate tower?" Unfortunately, Xiao Qian did not have time now. Otherwise, he would have to go and take a look. He did not know what was inside this mysterious tower. An hour later, a lake filled with spiritual energy appeared in Xiao Chen's vision. The lake was calm without any ripples, but there seemed to be undercurrents surging within, and one could faintly hear the roar of a dragon. Hidden Dragon Lake. Could it be that there really is a dragon hiding in this lake? They really dare to randomly name it. Xiao Chen smiled lightly and landed on the surface of the lake. Boom! At this moment, a loud roar came from the center of the lake. The lake water suddenly exploded, creating waves. A terrifying aura spread out in all directions. Swoosh! Under the pressure of the aura, a circular wall of waves immediately appeared on the surface of the lake, continuously expanding. A moment later it arrived in front of Xiao Chen, passed through his body and spread further away. Xiao Chen's clothes were instantly drenched, and he looked like a drowned rat. Strange, I seem to have been frightened by something just now. I could have dodged it, but I couldn't even muster my ki. I have to use my essence to dry my clothes. Xiao Chen thought it was strange. At the same time he felt very curious about that roar. How unlucky. I don't know what happened. This old ancestor has not been angry for several years. Stop talking. Let's go down first. It's just that our clothes are a little wet. We can use our essence to dry them. Some of the cultivators beside Xiao Chen, who were also standing on the surface of the water, cursed softly. Xiao Chen stopped thinking about other things. In any case, he could not figure it out. So he covered his body with essence. Xiao Chen held his breath and slowly sank to the bottom of the lake with the cultivators beside him. Many cultivators could be seen below the surface of the lake. They moved about, bobbing up and down. Xiao Chen followed the crowd and slowly sank. 10 minutes later, Xiao Chen saw a bright white light in the center of the lake. Before he could react, a strong suction pulled him down. When Xiao Chen reacted, he discovered that he was already in midair. There was a transparent barrier above him, separating him from the lake. However, below him was a bustling market. It was brightly lit and people moved about. The sound of people haggling could be heard everywhere. After hesitating for a while, Xiao Chen slowly floated to the ground. Soon he disappeared into the crowd. The market was densely packed with trade routes like a spider web. As Xiao Chen walked along the streets, he looked around with interest. Indeed, it was as Xiaxian had said. There were many people from all walks of life here. He even saw many rare demonic cultivators. The cultivators who set up stalls sold everything. There were spirit beast corpses of various ranks, demonic beast materials, spirit cores, demonic cores, medicinal pills, secret manuals, cultivation techniques, spirit weapons, and secret treasures. There were countless of them. Furthermore, these were just the ordinary items. What was even more surprising were some extremely sinister items. For example, there was a living woman placed at a stall with a price tag. After asking around, Xiao Chen found out that this woman had a rare absolute yin body. She was a good cauldron for evil cultivators to practice. Furthermore, to refine the 10,000 blood demon pearl using human souls, one would have to kill 10,000 martial saints to refine it. All sorts of extremely sinister items were common here. Along the way, Xiao Chen met many cultivators with deep cultivations. Xiao Chen carefully withdrew his aura. He was nothing here. Those strong cultivators could easily squash him to death with one finger. However, there was no need to worry about them killing him in the market. No one dared to disobey the rules of the Heavenly Extermination Union. However, once Xiao Chen left the market, it would be hard to say. Suddenly, Xiao Chen stopped in front of a stall. He stared at a black stone the size of a human head. This is an embryo of astral iron. After refining it, you can extract astral iron the size of a palm, Xiao Chen said, his heart thumping with excitement. Astral iron was obtained from a meteorite. It could be used to repair strong ancient secret treasures. It was also an important material for refining. Xiao Chen had once obtained a small piece of astral iron and used it to repair the Eastern Emperor bell. Unfortunately, the Eastern Emperor bell's grade was too high. That small amount of astral iron was not enough to repair it completely. As a result, the Eastern Emperor bell became a piece of scrap metal again. The owner of the stall was barely an inferior grade martial king. He did not seem to recognize this astral iron. Xiao Chen's expression did not change. He squatted down and picked up a rank 7 demonic beast demonic core beside the astral iron. He asked, how much is this demonic core? When the owner of the stall saw that there was business, he immediately smiled and said, this is the demonic core of the rank 7 wind-attributed demonic beast, the green hummingbird. When embedded in a spirit weapon, it can increase the attack speed of the spirit weapon. If you are a wind-attributed cultivator, you can use the turbidine water to extract the demonic beast's evil chi. You can absorb the demonic beast's energy directly and use it to refine medicine. When Xiao Chan saw the other party introducing the demonic core non-stop, he interrupted, I know. I am asking how much it is, not what it is used for. The owner of the stall smiled embarrassedly and said, it is not expensive. If it is inferior grade spirit stones, I will give you 20,000. If it is medial grade spirit stones, I will give you 100. Xiao Chan took out 20,000 inferior grade spirit stones and tossed them to the other party. He said, I want this demonic core. Straightforward. The demonic core is yours. The owner of the stall revealed a smile and tossed the demonic core to Xiao Chun. Clearly, he did not expect Xiao Chun to accept it so readily. Xiao Chun played with the demonic core for a while. The expression on his face seemed to be very happy. His intuition told him that Xiao Chun might be a big customer. He might even be a disciple of a noble clan. Since he was so generous, he could not miss this opportunity. Seeing that Xiao Chun was preparing to leave, the owner of the stall quickly said, young hero, do you want to continue looking? I still have some good things that I can't hide. Xiao Chun turned around and asked interestedly, what good things? The owner of the stall chuckled and took out some secret treasures from his spatial ring. Then he placed them on display. Xiao Chun held them in his hand and felt them carefully. He could not help but feel somewhat disappointed. They were all trash secret treasures. They would be useful for martial saints. However, after martial kings they would be useless. They were similar to the jade pendant that Xiao Chun obtained in the past. They were already outdated. However, the expression on Xiao Chun's face did not change. He nodded his head heavily and said, good things, I want them all. How much are they? Don't talk nonsense with me, introducing a bunch of things. Just tell me how much they are. When the owner of the stall heard this, he was slightly stunned. After a while he rejoiced in his heart. It looked like he had met the rumored rich man. Xiao Chun clearly did not know anything, yet he acted like he did. He said that a pile of trash was good. Secret treasures were valuable, but not all secret treasures were valuable. This pair of inferior grade secret treasures was just a pile of trash to martial kings. Seeing the owner of the stall remain silent, Xiao Chun said somewhat impatiently, how much are they? If you are not going to make a price, I will be leaving. The owner of the stall recovered his wits and clenched his teeth. 200,000 inferior grade spirit stones and 1,000 medial grade spirit stones. Xiao Chun remained silent, not saying anything. The owner of the stall knew that he had exaggerated the price. He quickly said, 150,000 inferior grade spirit stones is fine as well. Xiao Chun seemed to have just recovered his wits. He said, 150,000 inferior grade spirit stones? That's fine. Deal. When the owner of the stall heard this, he could not help but vomit blood in his heart. It turned out that this fellow did not hear what he said earlier. I lost 50,000 inferior grade spirit stones just because I spoke too much. The owner of the stall was filled with regret. When he saw Xiao Chun preparing to leave after paying the bill, he said unwillingly, wait a moment, young hero, I still have something good here. Xiao Chun smiled and said, you still have something good? Bring it over and let me take a look. Good stuff, good stuff. The owner of the stall looked around his stall, but he could not find anything that he could use to bluff his way out of. Suddenly he saw that swarthy astral iron raw stone. His eyes lit up and he smiled, this is it. What is this again? The owner of the stall was put in a difficult position. He did not know what this thing was. He only felt that it looked useful, so he casually put it out. Now that he had to introduce it, he did not know how to do so. He felt very anxious, hoping that Xiao Chun would say, cut the crap, just make a price. Xiao Chun said doubtfully, what is this? Ha, young hero, you still don't know what this is? The owner of the stall laughed embarrassedly. He said, you know what this is. I'll just make a price, right? Xiao Chun shook his head, I don't know. What is this? Isn't it just a black stone? What is its use? Just tell me. The owner of the stall was very anxious. He did his best to search for words to describe this black stone. However, after thinking for a long time, he could not think of anything. Chapter 461. This was because he did not know what this black stone was. Even if he wanted to make something up, he would not have a good reason. After holding it in for a long time, he still could not come up with anything. He could only feign a strange smile and say, "Young hero, you understand." Xiao Chan shook his head and said, "I really don't understand." The owner of the stall was in a rush to make an offer. However, when he saw that Xiao Chan did not take the bait, he felt very depressed. He really did not know how to continue making things up. Xiao Chen's lips curled up as he said, "If you don't want to say, then never mind. I'll take my leave first." The owner of the stall quickly stood up and blocked Xiao Chan. He said anxiously, "Young hero, don't go. If you really don't understand, then I'll explain it to you." Xiao Chen asked curiously, "What exactly is it?" The owner of the stall thought very quickly. After a while he quickly said, "This black stone is the egg of a rank 10 spirit beast. You can hug it and sleep on your belly every day. After 49 days, the life within the egg will sense your source of life. After 49 days, the eggshell will slowly transform. After that, after 49 days, a young rank 10 spirit beast will come out." The owner of the stall said a lot in one breath. After he finished, he heaved a sigh of relief. He praised himself in his heart, "I did not expect myself to be so quick-witted." Xiao Chen laughed in his heart. He really admired this person. It must have been hard on him to boast to such an extent. However, the expression on Xiao Chen's face did not change. He only said with some doubt, "A rank 10 spirit beast egg? Is that true?" The owner of the stall said very seriously, "It is definitely true. As long as you give me 100,000 inferior grade spirit stones, it will be yours." Xiao Chan shook his head and said, "I don't believe you. How about you sleep for 49 days first? When its eggshell has transformed, I will come back and buy it." Originally, Xiao Chan was starting to believe him. He did not expect the owner of the stall to say that this was just a stone. How could it transform while sleeping? The owner of the stall smiled awkwardly and said, "This thing can only be slept by itself. Otherwise, the spirit beast will not recognize it as its master." Xiao Chan did not say much and directly said, "You must have slept until your balls hurt. I'll give you 500,000 inferior grade spirit stones. If you sell it to me like this, even 10,000 would be too much. Goodbye. Don't go. 10,000 it is. This black stone is yours." The stall owner immediately shoved the raw astral iron into Xiao Chen's arms, refusing to let him leave no matter what. The stall owner smiled and said, "All right, young hero, you've already bought it. Pay up." Xiao Chan did not expect the owner to shove it for 10,000 spirit xiao with. Spirit stone astral spirit stone. Xiao wanted to give it for it. Xiao spirit out to him. It spirit out only with 10 spirit astral Xiao spirit 10. The owner of the stall made it seem like he had gained a great advantage. He was afraid that Xiao Chan would go back on his word. Without saying anything more, Xiao Chan tossed 10,000 inferior grade spirit stones to the other party. Then, he put away the astral iron stone and left without looking back. The owner of the stall took the spirit stones and watched Xiao Chan leave. A smile bloomed on his face. "If there are a few more rich people like him coming every day, it would be hard for me not to get rich." Xiao Chan smiled faintly and continued to stroll around the market. As he searched for fist technique manuals, he also looked for opportunities to pick up leftovers. Time slowly went by. Xiao Chan saw dozens of fist technique manuals. However, they were all medial grade earth-ranked martial techniques. There were very few superior grade earth-ranked martial techniques. Even if there was an attribute, it would not be suitable for him. It was extremely difficult to find a pure lightning attributed cultivation technique. As for peak superior grade earth-ranked martial techniques, Xiao Chan did not see a single one. After strolling around for a while, Xiao Chan could not help but feel disappointed. It looked like it would be difficult to find a suitable high-rank cultivation technique within 10 days. Xiao Chan put down another secret manual in his hand and said to the owner of the stall, "Sorry, This one is not suitable for me either. The owner of the stall was an old man in his 60s. He glanced at Xiao Chun and said, I did not expect little friend to have such high standards. If you really have enough spirit stones, I can recommend someone to you. If you go to him, you will definitely be able to buy the secret manual that you need. Xiao Chun asked interestedly, what do you mean by that? The old man smiled but did not say anything. Xiao Chun understood what the old man meant. He took out 200 medial-grade spirit stones and handed them over. Senior, please help me out. The old man casually weighed the spirit stones in his hand and said in satisfaction, after you leave this street, turn 3 streets to the left. That is the street that specializes in selling secret manuals. Go to stall number 1 and take a look. The things there are very expensive, but they will definitely have what you need. Xiao Chun thanked the old man and took his leave. 10 minutes later, Xiao Chun arrived at the street that he mentioned. Indeed, it was as the old man said. Although the street was small and there were not many people, it was very quiet. However, the stalls were filled with cultivation techniques and secret manuals. As Xiao Chun counted in his heart, he slowly arrived at stall number 1. The owner of the stall was a middle-aged man in his 30s with a ferocious-looking face. He glanced at Xiao Chun and smiled faintly. Although it was a friendly smile, it made one's hair stand on end. Are you here to buy secret manuals? The middle-aged man asked. Xiao Chun nodded. I only want superior grade earth-ranked fist techniques and above. It would be best if they are lightning attributed. The middle-aged man did not say anything more. He flipped through the stall and found 4 secret manuals, handing them over. Xiao Chun received them and flipped through them one by one. The first manual was a tyrant fist that did not have any elemental requirements. There was a total of 10 moves. The fist technique was incomparably tyrannical, each move more ruthless than the one before. This fist technique focused on one's aura, using one's aura to suppress others. If one met a cultivator weaker than them, they could deal with them with one punch. If a stronger cultivator wanted to break the fist technique, they would have to learn an extremely ingenious move. Otherwise, they could only clash head-on and suppress themselves with their aura. The weakness was that it exhausted a lot of essence. A regular superior grade martial king's essence would be completely drained after one set of fist techniques. The other weakness was that the moves were not flexible enough and focused on being straightforward. This fist technique was a superior grade earth-ranked fist technique. Xiao Chun thought to himself, not bad. If there is nothing else, I will choose this. This tyrant fist technique suits my requirements. Xiao Chun had abundant essence, much more than a regular martial king. Even if he ran out of essence, he would still have vital qi to support it. The first weakness could be ignored. As for the second weakness, Xiao Chun did not need to worry about it. This fist technique was only a support. He still had more ingenious saber techniques. The second manual was a wind-attributed fist technique. It focused on fast punching speed and ingenious techniques. Xiao Chun shook his head and gave up on it. Saber techniques focused on speed and technique. Fist techniques did not need to focus on speed. Xiao Chun continued to look at the third manual. It was a lightning-attributed superior grade earth-ranked fist technique, Thunder Rock Fist. This was a fist technique created by a senior expert after observing the lightning-attributed superior grade spirit beast, the Thunder Rock. This fist technique contained the speed of the Thunder Rock, the berserk nature of the Thunder Rock, and the techniques of the Thunder Rock when it hunted. In addition, Xiao Chun's own comprehensions formed this strong Thunder Rock fist. Xiao Chun thought to himself, that old man did not lie to me. He managed to find 2 fist techniques that suited him in one go. Xiao Chun continued to look. If there were no better ones, he would just randomly choose one of these 2. The fourth manual was called Dragon Claw Fist. It was a martial technique that combined fist techniques and claw techniques. It was very hard to defend against when one switched between a fist and a claw. Dragon Claw. Xiao Chun liked these 2 terms. Perhaps it could be combined with the blue dragon chi. Xiao Chun continued to read. The Dragon Claw Fist was a peak superior grade earth-ranked fist technique. His expression could not help but change. Although there was only a difference of 1 grade between peak superior grade earth-ranked and peak superior grade earth-ranked fist techniques, their might was completely different. The might of a peak superior grade earth-ranked fist technique was already infinitely close to that of a heaven-ranked martial technique. However, heaven-ranked martial techniques could not be used without reaching a certain cultivation realm. If one forcefully used it, there would be the danger of the body exploding. Xiao Chun himself had an unbearable experience. Hence, if one could find a peak superior grade earth-ranked martial technique, it would be the most powerful martial technique under martial monarch. Xiao Chun felt suspicious. He asked, "Is this Dragon Claw Fist really a peak superior grade earth-ranked martial technique?" The secret manual that the other party handed over only had a name and a rough introduction. It did not have the actual incantation or the circulation route of essence. Hence, Xiao Chun could not make a judgment. The middle-aged man smiled and said, "I did not build up my reputation in a day or two. Since I said it is a peak superior grade earth-ranked martial technique, then it is. However, that manual of yours is a little special. Even if you bought it, it would be useless." "Why?" The owner of the stall explained, "This fist technique can only be circulated with pure vital qi. Furthermore, it has very high requirements for the physical body. If the physical body is not strong enough, even if you are a vital qi cultivator, if you use it rashly, you will end up with severe internal injuries. Even if you do not manage to kill your opponent, you will end up killing yourself. Seeing how your essence is surging, naturally, you are not a physical body cultivator. It would be even more impossible for you to circulate your vital qi freely in your body. Hence, even if you bought it, it would be useless." Xiao Chun rejoiced in his heart. This dragon claw fist was prepared for him. He casually asked, "How much is it?" The middle-aged man asked doubtfully, "You want to buy it?" Xiao Chun did not beat around the bush. He said directly, "As long as the price is not too exaggerated, I will buy it." The middle-aged man said sullenly, "Don't worry. I always get what I pay for. Although the martial technique you want is a peak superior grade earth-ranked martial technique, it is too unpopular. I will not ask for a random price. 30,000 medial grade spirit stones will do." 30,000 medial grade spirit stones. Xiao Chun nodded and prepared to pay. He knew that the other party did not ask for a random price. A peak superior grade earth-ranked martial technique of the other category was sold for 50,000 medial grade spirit stones. There were no surprises. Xiao Chun probed, "Can I use inferior grade spirit stones to pay?" The middle-aged man shook his head and said, "No. Past inferior grade earth-ranked, all martial techniques have to be paid with medial grade spirit stones." Xiao Chun no longer hesitated. He had only asked casually. He had already guessed that the other party would not agree. After the middle-aged man paid the spirit stones, he counted the number. Then, he took out the true copy of the secret manual from his spatial ring and handed it to Xiao Chun. After Xiao Chun looked through it and verified that there were no mistakes, he placed it in his universe ring. Before he left, Xiao Chun looked at the many secret manuals on the stall. He asked curiously, "Where did you get these secret manuals from? If the information is confidential, I can pay with spirit stones." With such a secret manual, it should be a land of fortuitous encounters. Fortuitous encounters were very attractive to cultivators. Xiao Chun was no exception. The middle-aged man chuckled and said, "It is not confidential. After you leave, this secret manual might end up in my hands again." When Xiao Chun heard this, he felt a chill in his heart. He now knew how the other party obtained these secret manuals. They were obtained by killing people and robbing them. For this person to be able to snatch so many secret manuals, he was probably a half-step martial monarch at the very least. "Ha ha! Don't worry, I never make a move on my customers." When the middle-aged man saw Xiao Chun's expression, he laughed loudly. Chapter 462. This fellow is a madman. Xiao Chun did not linger. He turned around and left the place. Now that he had obtained the secret manual, there was no need to continue looking around. Xiao Chun left the street and prepared to soar into the air. However, just at this moment, a cultivator wearing a black cloak, his face hidden in the shadows, landed in front of Xiao Chun. Then he immediately headed north. Xiao Chun felt that this person looked familiar. He quickly sent out his spiritual sense, and his expression changed. "Chu Chaoyun, what is he doing here? He should be here to get something." After all, if Xiao Chun could come, it would not be strange for him to come as well. Xiao Chun withdrew his spiritual sense and stopped paying attention. However, he suddenly discovered a strange problem. After Chu Chaoyun landed, he did not look at anything. He just headed north, not even bothering to look at the surrounding stalls. Something is strange. Xiao Chun narrowed his eyes and decided to follow. He withdrew his aura and maintained a 2-kilometer distance. Xiao Chun followed Chu Chaoyun stealthily. Soon Chu Chaoyun left the vicinity of the market. Xiao Chun found it even more strange. What is this fellow doing here? Outside the market was an extremely desolate land. Only some flourishing weeds grew. The cold wind howled, making it look very desolate. Chu Chaoyun did not stop at all. His destination was very clear. He kept walking until he finally stopped before a tombstone. Beside the tombstone there was a deep pool of water. The surface of the pool was covered with ice, and it looked very strange. Xiao Chun removed his black cloak. Unexpectedly, Chu Chaoyun was wearing the golden robes of the Tianwu dynasty. Chu Chaoyun's perpetually calm face revealed a faint sadness. He squatted down and started to pull out the weeds around the tombstone. The tombstone was already very dilapidated. The words on it were already cracked. Xiao Chun took a long time before he could see them clearly. Then, he slowly read, "Grave of Chu Jiaoyang. Chu Jiaoyang, Chu Jiaoyang." Xiao Chun repeated this name twice in his heart, and his expression changed drastically. The Tianwu emperor who established the Tianwu dynasty and moved unhindered across the continent, the one who was praised for tens of thousands of years, wasn't the real name of Chu Jiaoyang? Impossible. This is impossible. Xiao Chun was extremely astonished. The Tianwu emperor Chu Jiaoyang was a peerless genius, unrivaled in the world, praised for tens of thousands of years. Even to this day, he was still an unsurpassable legend of the Tianwu continent. The title of the strongest person since the ancient era definitely belonged to him. However, his tombstone was so simple and crude that it was even a bit dilapidated and overgrown with weeds. Currently, the grave of any city lord of a small city would be many times more luxurious than this gravestone. He was the Tianwu emperor. How could his gravestone be so simple? Waves surged in Xiao Chun's heart. He couldn't figure out how this was possible. The tomb of the heavenly the arch was actually so simple. What Xiao Chun couldn't figure out was why Chu Chaoyun was here. Furthermore, logically speaking, this gravestone should not have been hard to find. Why did he not think of attacking the tomb of the heavenly the arch? After all, no matter how simple it was still the tomb of the heavenly the arch. Even the corpse of a heavenly the arch was priceless and inestimable. All sorts of doubts lingered in Xiao Chun's heart, causing his mind to be in a mess. Then he carefully recalled the past. Suddenly, Xiao Chun remembered the first time he met Chu Chaoyun. There was a heavenly thearch's tomb there as well. However, it was the last one, the last emperor of the Tianwu dynasty. Compared to Chu Jiaoyang, he was worlds apart. As the biggest winner of that fortuitous encounter, not only did Chu Chaoyun obtain the corpse of Emperor Wu, he even absorbed a tenth of the heavenly flame and obtained the life-extinguishing blood-reversing swordplay. Now that Chu Jiaoyang appeared here, perhaps everything that happened that day was not a coincidence. Everything was within his calculations. If Xiao Chun thought deeper, the map that the Yu clan obtained back then might have been purposely obtained by the Yu clan. If all this was true, then the depths of Chu Chaoyun's schemes were truly horrifying. Bang! 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 Just at this moment, the ice-covered pond shattered with a ka-hi sound. A drawn-out aura soared into the sky from the cracks in the ice. That aura was like a long straight line. Soon it pierced through the barrier of the underground market and pierced into the lake. Xiao Chun was startled. When he first arrived at the hidden dragon lake, the aura he felt came from here. Boom! The ice completely shattered, and a snow-white flood dragon leaped out of the pond. Its body was more than 200 meters long. White scales lined its body, and auspicious clouds spread out from its body. An ancient dragon might spread out into the surroundings from its body. Immediately, everyone in the underground market felt an enormous pressure. Their gazes were filled with doubt. Why did this ancestor come out for no reason? Could it be that someone has designs on the heavenly emperor's tomb? He is too bold. He really does not know how to spell the word death. However, no one dared to go and watch the excitement. They all remained where they were and did what they were supposed to do. Even if they were curious, they did not have the guts to go and watch. There is actually a dragon in this hidden dragon lake. Xiao Chun thought in horror. This was a rank 10 frost flood dragon, an existence equal to a peak martial sage. Looking at the auspicious clouds covering its body, it clearly showed signs of transforming into a true dragon. Such a flood dragon had lived for an unknown period of time. Even if Emperor Wu came, he would not be able to do anything to it. It was an existence that truly stood at the top of the food chain. No wonder no one had any designs on this simple heavenly emperor's tomb even though it was placed here. 2 kilometers away, Xiao Chun withdrew his aura and lay on the ground even more carefully. At this moment, he did not even dare to send out his spiritual sense. With just a thought from such a strong frost flood dragon, Xiao Chun would be able to sense it. No matter how strong Xiao Chun's spiritual sense was, he was not arrogant enough to think that he could compare to a flood dragon. Before the gravestone, Chu Chaoyun waved at the soaring frost flood dragon and said, "Aoyang, it has been a long time." It has indeed been a long time. The last time you came here was probably 4 years ago, the flood dragon said in an extremely aged voice. Chu Chaoyun smiled faintly and did not say anything more. Then, he took out a stack of yellow paper and the items of the priest and placed them in front of the gravestone. A golden light flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes, and all the offerings started burning. Chu Chaoyun looked at the burning yellow paper in a daze. The sorrowful expression on his face became even more intense. Then Chu Chaoyun touched the mottled gravestone with his right hand and muttered in a voice that only he could hear, "Even if you were a peerless talent, unparalleled in the world, unrivaled in the world, in the end, you are just a pile of dirt, a broken gravestone. Even after 10,000 years your name still remains. However, your dynasty no longer exists. Your descendants do not even have the qualifications to be a proper human being." Xiao Chun could not hear what Chu Chaoyun said. However, when he saw the burning offerings he was startled. Could this Chu Chaoyun be a descendant of the Tianwu dynasty's royal court? Xiao. Just at this moment, an extremely cold gaze stared at Xiao Chun. Xiao Chen's chest tightened. He knew that the frost flood dragon had sensed his emotional fluctuations earlier. Bang! Without any hesitation, Xiao Chun smacked the ground heavily and immediately shot forward. The lines on the blood flame shoes suddenly lit up. Xiao Chen's speed instantly reached Mach 4 as he soared into the sky. See. The moment the frost flood dragon left, a layer of cold qi appeared where Xiao Chun had been lying earlier. The frost flood dragon froze all the dirt into ice shards. After that, the ice exploded, sending countless ice shards flying in all directions. The surrounding cold qi spread out and a cold wind howled. A huge pit appeared in the ground. All this happened in the blink of an eye. Xiao Chun did not even notice how the frost flood dragon made its move. He felt extremely nervous as he quickly flew into the sky. He only wanted to leave this market as soon as possible. He had no intention of resisting. The frost flood dragon looked at Xiao Chun in the air. Its eyes flickered slightly as it prepared to spit out another dragon breath to kill Xiao Chun. However, after a while it discovered something else. It stopped opening its mouth and raised its claws, sending out an extremely sharp cold qi. Bang! Xiao Chun felt a cold qi explode behind him. A horrifying energy surged over, and the lightning-attributed essence in his body was immediately destroyed. Wuxia. Xiao Chun vomited a mouthful of blood. That huge force pushed him forward continuously. Soon he was out of the barrier and into the lake. The huge force did not diminish as it carried Xiao Chun's body forward. After an instant, Xiao Chun appeared above the hidden dragon lake, leaving behind a pillar of water. Xiao Chun heaved a sigh of relief. Then, he checked his internal injuries. To his surprise, he discovered that he had not suffered any injuries. The cold qi that had rushed into his body and caused him unbearable pain did not injure him. Instead, it forced out some of the impurities in his essence. That was to say, not only did Xiao Chun not suffer any losses, but he even gained something for free. Splash! The water pillar fell, and the lake rippled for a long time before it slowly stopped. Xiao Chun stared at the water for a long time. He could not figure out why that rank 10 frost flood dragon helped him. Beside the heavenly emperor's grave, the frost flood dragon's aged voice rang out again. Chu Chaoyun, don't bring anyone with you next time. Even if you are the successor of the Qing emperor, there is no exception. Chu Chaoyun said somewhat helplessly, I really did not know that he followed me here. Furthermore, I do not know when I will come again. The Frost Flood Dragon's voice rang out again. I don't care what you want to do. You had better not have any designs on the things in the Heavenly Emperor's grave. After saying that, the Frost Jiao Dragon dived back into the deep pool of water. Chu Chaoyun clenched his right fist tightly. His gaze was resolute as he looked at the simple Heavenly Emperor's grave. He muttered, "The dead are already dead. I still have some respect for you." Xiao Chun cautiously returned to his courtyard. Under a small tree in the courtyard, Xiao Chun sat cross-legged and closed his eyes. He started to carefully sense the cold qi that the Frost Flood Dragon gave him. He felt that there was still some remnant cold qi in his body that had not been used yet. It would be a waste not to make good use of it. Qi, qi. As Xiao Chun circulated his essence, the cold qi that permeated his flesh, meridians and internal organs was quickly absorbed by Xiao Chun. Chapter 463. This was clearly a bone-chilling cold qi. However, at this moment Xiao Chun felt warm. Xiao Chun entered deep thought. Aside from the benefits of this cold qi, he also thought of some other things. He also thought of something else. Cold qi could hurt people, but it could also help people. Xiao Chun did not know if this logic applied to other attributes. The wind had a berserk side, but it also had a gentle spring breeze that warmed the human body. Fire had a temperature and could kill. However, it was also a necessity for ordinary people when cooking. If Xiao Chun were to apply these principles to his state, he wondered if his comprehension of the state would reach a higher level. This logic was still too profound. Xiao Chun collected his thoughts and stopped thinking about it for now. Then he focused on absorbing the cold qi. After about 7 minutes, Xiao Chun opened his eyes. He felt a warm and numb sensation throughout his body. Waves of turbid qi gathered in his abdomen from all over his body. Xiao Chun flicked his finger, and a stream of black blood spurted out of his fingertip. The instant the black blood left his body, Xiao Chun felt his entire body relax. What a powerful cold qi. Unexpectedly, it managed to heal all the hidden injuries that I did not notice before. Xiao Chun stretched his body and felt astonished. He could not understand why that rank 10 Frost Flood Dragon would help him. Dong! 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 Just at this moment there was a knock on the door, interrupting Xiao Chun's thoughts. When Xiao Chun opened the door, he saw an ordinary person wearing gray robes with 3 golden threads embroidered on his collar. This person held a letter in his hand. "May I ask if this young hero's surname is Xiao?" The person asked respectfully with a cupped fist salute. Xiao Chun nodded to indicate his acknowledgement. The other party smiled and said, "In that case, you have found the right person. This letter is for you. Goodbye." The letter floated in his hand. Xiao Chun did not immediately pick it up. The person who delivered the letter looked ordinary, but his attitude was very appropriate. He did not have the reverence that a high-ranked cultivator would have. Furthermore, poisoning the letter was a rather common method. It was better to be cautious. Xiao Chun waved his hand gently, and a strand of essence shot out. The letter immediately tore open, revealing the letter inside. The paper unfolded and floated in the air. After Xiao Chun finished reading it, he flicked out a wisp of purple flames and completely burned it to ashes. Strange, why did Zuo of Beast Taming Camp gather everyone? Zuo was Pei Xiaoshuan's first Shixiang, the strongest third-generation disciple of the Beast Taming Camp. He was very strong. In the previous 5-nation youth competition, he managed to rank within the top 20. He was one of the few who could withstand the pressure and enter the top 20. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that he was the #1 young master of Great Tang. The content of the envelope was very simple. It was to invite Xiao Chun to attend a gathering in 5 days. It seemed like he wanted to gather all the participants of the second round of selection and familiarize themselves with each other. Xiao Chun said softly, "That's good too. If we all go, it's not a bad thing to scout ahead." Keeping this matter in mind, Xiao Chun took out the peak earth-ranked fist technique, the Dragon Claw Fist, and carefully looked at it. The Dragon Claw Fist was a fist technique that perfectly merged the fist with the claw. The switching between the fist and the claw was very hard to defend against. According to the introduction in the secret manual, when practiced to great perfection, There would not be much of a barrier between the fist and the claw. When the dragon claw fist technique was executed, it contained the might of the fist and the sharpness of the claw. The fist technique had a total of 7 moves. The first 3 moves were the basics. They did not have names and only allowed the cultivator to switch between the fist and the claw freely. From the 4th move onwards, the might of the dragon claw fist technique increased. Each move was stronger than the one before, and every move was a killing move. Furthermore, each move had 2 different ways of executing it. Using the fist or the claw would result in a completely different move. This meant that the 4 moves could be turned into 8 moves. These 4 moves were Berserk Dragon, Burning the Heavens, Breaking Armor, and Seizing the Heart. After Xiao Chun finished reading the secret manual, he closed his eyes and started to carefully comprehend it. After a long time, he slowly opened his eyes, and a bright light flashed in them. Xiao Chun put away the secret manual and started to circulate his vital qi, according to the method in the manual. Boom! Boom! Xiao Chun circulated his vital qi in his chest and transferred it to his right arm. He immediately felt a swelling pain in his arm, like his flesh would explode in the next moment. Along with the swelling pain, Xiao Chun felt an incomparably strong force pour into his arm. What a tyrannical force! No wonder the middle-aged man said that people who had not reached great perfection could not practice this palm technique. Xiao Chun knew that he had overestimated himself. The moment he started, he circulated all his vital qi. He quickly reduced the amount of vital qi he used by half. The pain immediately vanished, and the circulation of vital qi became very smooth. Soon it entered his palm. Bah! When Xiao Chun punched, the force exploded in the air. A strong wind immediately blew in the courtyard, kicking up countless fallen leaves. Without losing any momentum, Xiao Chun followed the method in the dragon claw fist and formed a claw with his 5 fingers. The scattered force in the air was instantly absorbed. Xiao Chun merged the remaining vital qi with Xiao Chen's. When he swung his claw, a strong wind blew and 5 deep claw marks appeared in the air. After a long time they slowly faded away. Just half of my vital qi is already so strong. When I bring out all my vital qi, how ferocious will it be? Xiao Chun revealed a joyful smile as he spoke happily. Furthermore, he did not even use the azure dragon energy in his arm. If he layered his vital qi and dragon qi together, he would be able to defeat the azure dragon. The might of a fist and a claw strike made even Xiao Chun feel that it was somewhat monstrous. A peak earth-ranked fist technique is indeed an earth-ranked fist technique. I did not spend so many spirit stones in vain, Xiao Chun thought, smiling happily. 2 days later, Xiao Chun had already mastered the first 3 moves of the dragon claw fist. The transition between fist and claw had already reached the initial stage. Xiao Chun had reached small perfection. However, he was still a distance away from being able to move freely. However, that would require time to accumulate. It was not that Xiao Chen's comprehension ability was lacking. It was just a matter of time. Fist! In the courtyard, Xiao Chun shouted. All the vital qi in Xiao Chen's body circulated in his abdomen and poured into his right arm. After 2 days of practice, Xiao Chen's physical body could already contain this vital qi without feeling any pain. When the vital qi flowed through his arm, the blue dragon tattoo moved slowly. Strands of dragon qi slowly seeped into the vital qi. The strength in his arm increased by more than 20%. He clenched his fist tightly. When he felt the surging energy, Xiao Chun punched. Explode! A cyan energy visible to the naked eye exploded, causing a violent gale to blow in the courtyard. A few small trees were actually pulled up by this gale. Kasie! Kasie! When the energy surged out, the small trees immediately shattered into countless pieces. Claw! Xiao Chun shouted again and formed a claw with his fingers. The surrounding azure energy surged over and merged with the remaining energy in his arm. Wuxia! The 5 cyan claw marks seemed to break through the air. The falling leaves in the courtyard that were flying all over the sky suddenly had 5 extremely obvious gaps. Fist! Xiao Chen's lower body sank down. The instant he retracted his claw, he pushed forward. His aura suddenly changed, turning into a fist wind and attacking forward. After this happened more than 10 times, Xiao Chen slowly stopped. After thinking for a while, he said softly, "The force of the fist wind looks very ferocious. However, it seems to be somewhat scattered." I have to think of a way to gather it together. Following that, Xiao Chun started to focus on practicing the fist wind. He focused the force of the fist wind on one point, not spreading it to other places. Time passed slowly. After another 2 days, Xiao Chun had completely stabilized the 3 basic moves of the Dragon Claw Fist. The problem of the scattered fist wind was also solved. After all, it was not a particularly profound technique. Xiao Chun had been able to do it in the past. Now, he only made a small improvement to the Dragon Claw Fist, making it more suitable for himself. It is time to practice the official moves of the Dragon Claw Fist. Berserk Dragon Fist, Berserk Dragon Claw. There is clearly only one move, but there are 2 different ways to deduce it. I have to think about it carefully. Xiao Chun took a deep breath and said with a resolute gaze. In the western district of Desolate City, Zhuemo of the beast-taming abode had already reserved the entire courtyard. The tables and chairs in the courtyard were arranged very neatly. The 200-odd people who passed the second round of selection were gathered together according to the different empires. The Tang Nation's people were with the Tang Nation's people, and the Chu Nation's people were with the Chu Nation's people. After all, the people from the same nation were the most familiar. It was hard to avoid competition between geniuses. When the cultivators from the same nation gathered together, it was like they were in a group. There were close to 300 outstanding talents. The Great Qin Nation's cultivators were in an awkward position. Aside from Duanmiking, Hua Yunfei, Mu Changxue, and Ji Chongkong, there were only a few outstanding talents from the imperial capital. Compared to the other nations, there were only a few dozen people. The difference was very obvious. Even with the addition of Xiao Chun and Chu Chaoyun, who had not arrived yet, there were less than 20 people. When the outstanding talents of the surrounding nations looked at where Hua Yunfei and the others were, disdain occasionally flashed in their eyes. Occasionally, they would whisper to each other, making the Great Qin Nation's people feel very embarrassed. In reality, the Great Qin Nation's spiritual energy was sparse. It had been at the bottom of the 4 great nations for a long time already. In the previous 5-nation youth competition, no one had made it into the top 100. Unfortunately, the 5-nation youth competition had a rule that the royal clan disciples could not participate. Otherwise, with Ying Yu's strength, she would have no problem making it into the top 20. The royal clans of the various nations formed their own system. It was said that they could communicate with the upper realm and had their own blessed lands. Hence, the invitation to the ancient desolate tower was the same as the 5-nation youth competition. It would not be sent to the royal clans of the various nations. Lu Yong, we have not met for 3 years already. It is rare for us to meet again. I wonder if your sword is still better than mine. Just at this moment, a cultivator from the Great Xia Nation, Zhou Wei, spoke to a Great Tang Nation disciple with a soaring aura. In other words, this gathering was a chance for everyone to test each other's strength before the arena battles. There were many familiar faces here. They all wanted to know how much the other party had improved. Then they could estimate their own strength and their chances of obtaining one of the 20 spots. Half of the reason why so many people came was because of Zhuemo. The other half was because of the 20 spots. The Great Tang Nation's Lu Yong stood up and smiled faintly. I had the same intention. I could defeat you 1 year ago. 1 year later, I can still defeat you. Xiao. As soon as the 2 of them stepped forward, the sounds of discussion immediately stopped, and everyone's gazes converged on them. Chapter 464. In the arena battles, everyone could be an opponent. If one could understand each other's strength in advance, it would save them a lot of effort. Ding! Ding! In the courtyard, sword chi crisscrossed and the 2 of them quickly got into a fight, unleashing all sorts of sword moves. The 2 were evenly matched. No one could do anything to the other. Lu Yong was somewhat surprised. He said, I did not expect you to have comprehended sword intent in 1 year. Furthermore, you have cultivated it to 30% comprehension. You are not simple. Zhou Wei executed his sword intent to the extreme. He said with some pride, 1 year is enough for many things to change. If this is all you are capable of, you should just admit defeat when you meet me in the arena battles. Boom! The sword in Zhou Wei's hand trembled, and an even stronger sword intent surged out. Even the sword chi became sharper. Dang! Ding! Ding! As Zhou Wei swung his sword, he forced Lu Yong back a few steps. The advantage in the arena started to tilt in Zhou Wei's favor. That is 50% comprehended sword intent. The cultivators watching outside the arena exclaimed softly. 50% comprehended sword intent was already at the peak of small perfection. As long as one crossed this threshold, it would be a great perfection sword intent. For a regular swordsman to achieve 50% comprehended sword intent at such a young age, it was already very strong. No wonder this person dared to challenge Lu Yong. So it turned out that he had such confidence. Now he felt relieved. Lu Yong's expression also changed slightly. However, he quickly recovered. He smiled faintly and said, 50% comprehended sword intent? I achieved it half a year ago. You should have just reached it. Boom! Lu Yong's sword intent soared as well, and his aura immediately recovered. Furthermore, his grasp of sword intent was even higher than Zhou Wei's. Furthermore, Lu Yong's state was stronger than Zhou Wei's. He instantly gained the upper hand. Zhou Wei could only bitterly defend at some point in time. After 100 moves, Lu Yong narrowed his eyes. He found an opening and thrust his sword at Zhou Wei's face. This attack was cold and sharp. It was extremely dangerous. Zhou Wei was startled and quickly withdrew his sword to block. Who knew that Lu Yong was just faking it? The instant Zhou Wei withdrew his sword, Lu Yong's sword stabbed forward. It struck Zhou Wei's wrist and immediately cut open a wound. The sword flew out of Zhou Wei's hand. Lu Yong took advantage of the situation and took a step forward. The cold edge of the sword rested on Zhou Wei's neck. Thanks for letting me win, Brother Zhou. It looks like you've wasted a year of training. It's best if you don't meet him in the arena. Lu Yong laughed heartily and sheathed his sword, returning Zhou Wei's words back to him. Zhou Wei went back to his table, feeling a little depressed. His friends next to him immediately comforted him. Don't be depressed. You have comprehended 50% of your sword intent, and you have also comprehended the state of wind to the peak of small success. There is still hope for you to get one of the 20 spots. Zhou Wei smiled bitterly and said, It's nothing. Just allowed me to see myself more clearly. Originally, I thought that although I was not one of the peak people, unable to compare to Ding Fengqiu, Zhang Zimo, Chu Mu, and the others, I was still within the top 20. I didn't expect such an ending. I'm improving, but so are the others. Following that, a few more people went down to exchange pointers with each other. Among them Zhang Zimo, Chu Mu and Mu Xinya, the three young experts of the Heavenly Fiend Palace, fought each other. There was also the match between Pei Xiaoxian and Xiaoxian, as well as the match between Ding Fengqiu and Zhuo Mo. These were the most eye-catching. The strength of these people was publicly acknowledged to be at the peak of this place. After a series of battles, everyone was even more certain of this. Even Lu Yong shook his head and sighed after he saw Ding Fengqiu and Zhuo Mo's match. He said, I am not comparable to him. If I meet him, I will immediately admit defeat and conserve my strength for the next battle. On the Great Qin Nation's side, Hua Yunfei and the others all had unsightly expressions. Originally, they thought that even if there was a gap between them and the people of the other nations, there would not be such a huge gap. At the very least, there would be a chance to turn things around. After watching a few battles, Hua Yunfei shook his head and sighed. He thought to himself, I was truly a frog in a well. Bang! A swordsman from the Great Qin Nation kicked a cultivator from the imperial capital of the Great Qin Nation. A trace of blood leaked out from the corner of his mouth, and his expression was one of extreme pain. That swordsman shook his head and said, The cultivators of the Great Qin Nation are still not strong enough. Sorry, I should not have challenged you. These words sounded nice. However, when Hua Yunfei and the others heard them, it was worse than humiliation. Don't go. I Hua Yunfei challenge you. Hua Yunfei's expression turned sullen as he stood up. He held a scarlet sword and slowly walked towards that swordsman. That swordsman glanced at Hua Yunfei and said seriously, You are stronger than him. I accept your challenge. Boom! The two of them clashed. Hua Yunfei knew that his opponent was not easy to deal with. The moment he stepped up, he executed the bloody kill sword technique to its limits. A scarlet light filled the sky, a sea of blood surged, and a baleful aura rushed into the sky. That swordsman's expression did not change. He retreated step by step, blocking Hua Yunfei's continuous attacks. When that swordsman had nowhere to retreat to, he suddenly stopped. He shook his head and said, "What a strong martial technique. Unfortunately, you cannot even comprehend sword intent. It is a waste of this martial technique. Lose." Sword intent rushed into the sky, and that swordsman's aura suddenly soared. His sword technique became very ferocious. With just one sword strike, he managed to repel Hua Yunfei's attack. The sword left a faint wound on his face. After that, that swordsman withdrew his sword and quickly retreated. If he had not been merciful, Hua Yunfei would have died on the spot. Ji Chongkong took advantage of the situation and stood up. He said to that swordsman, "Ji Chongkong, do you mind giving me some pointers?" Before that swordsman could reply, a bladesman friend beside him stood up and smiled. "You have fought 2 consecutive battles. How about I help you block?" "Sure, I'll leave Shiyong to you." The swordsman nodded in agreement. He returned to his seat and closed his eyes to rest. Even though he had won 2 battles in a row, he did not care too much about it. In his opinion, defeating the people of the Great Qin nation was not something to be proud of. Mu Changxue said softly, "Very good. Fight with your full power. That way you will be convinced of your defeat." Shiyong smiled and said, "Don't brag and make others laugh. Speak after you win." Xiu. Ji Chongkong took the initiative to attack. He executed the astral swordplay, and a sky full of stars revolved around him. However, that bladesman did not care about his opponent's mysterious phenomenon. He shouted a war cry and hacked down with his saber with all his might. His cultivation was higher than Ji Chongkong's. Combined with his tyrannical saber technique, it was sufficient to suppress his opponent. Bang! After clashing head-on a few times, Ji Chongkong's arm became numb. His chest ached. He knew that his essence was still lacking compared to his opponent's. He stopped hiding his strength and merged his 20% comprehended sword intent with his sword technique. Finally, he recovered some of his disadvantage. That bladesman smiled and said, "Interesting. However, a 20% comprehended sword intent is nothing here. You should still lose." Suddenly, a strong wind blew on the saber. This bladesman finally used his full strength. Dang! 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 Ji Chongkong blocked 3 strikes in a row. In the end, he could no longer block them. The sword in his hand was knocked away, flying out of the courtyard. Mu Changxue, who thought that he could show off with his holy weapon, saw Ji Chongkong's sword knocked away, and his expression changed slightly. He lowered his head and drank his tea, pretending not to see anything. He had completely given up on challenging others. Just accept your fate. The spiritual energy in the Great Qin nation is insufficient, and the competition is not big. Even if we are equal, we are still much weaker than the geniuses of the other nations. In this budding age of geniuses, you are destined to be supporting characters, Shiyong said expressionlessly. Ji Chongkong's face was filled with dissatisfaction. However, he had to admit that what Shiyong said was true. Wang! Wang! Just at this moment, a melodious sword hum resounded outside the courtyard. It sounded melodious and resonant. Everyone quickly looked over. They saw a bladesman in white grabbing a sword with 2 fingers outside the door. The force of the sword was very strong. However, that bladesman only used 2 fingers and casually grabbed the tip of the sword. He casually clamped the tip of the sword, and the sword could no longer move forward. It shook and trembled violently in the air. Shiyong's expression changed slightly. He had used his full power in his final 3 attacks. They were his peak killing moves. He was very clear on how strong they were. The sword that he knocked away contained at least half the might of his peak strike. It would not be strange if Shiyong had dodged it. After all, he was already too slow. However, this person only used 2 fingers to grab the tip of the sword and casually blocked it. This was somewhat unbelievable. Today happened to be the 5th day that Mo had set. Xiao Chun practiced the Dragon Claw Fist's 4th move, Berserk Dragon. He was too engrossed in it. Originally, he had planned to practice it once more in the morning before setting off. However, who knew, he suddenly comprehended something and became engrossed in it. By the time Xiao Chun reacted, it was already noon. He rushed over in a hurry. The moment he stepped into the courtyard, he saw a sword flying at him. At first, Xiao Chun thought that someone was trying to make a move against him. When Xiao Chun saw Ji Chongkong and Shi Yong, he understood. It was just the shockwaves from the fight. It was clear that Ji Chongkong had lost. When Ji Chongkong saw Xiao Chun holding his sword, he said with an unfriendly expression, "Give me my sword." Xiao Chun smiled faintly and flicked his finger. The sword started spinning and flew towards Ji Chongkong. Xiao Chun flew towards Ji Chongkong and caught the sword. Ji Chongkong had an unsightly expression as he returned to his seat. He had not expected that after leaving the Great Qin nation, he would not even be able to deal with a minor character. Xiao Chun slowly walked over to Shi Yong and said calmly, "The people of the Great Qin nation can only be supporting characters. Could it be that you think you are the main character? Do you dare to repeat what you said earlier?" Xiao Chun had heard every single word that the other party said. He found it very laughable. Although the spirit veins in the Great Qin nation were rare and the competition was not strong, there were still peak experts like Ying Yu, Chu Chaoyun and Long Liusu. This person would not be a match for any one of them. Xiao Chun did not know where this person got his confidence from. Shi Yong mocked, "You are from the Great Qin nation as well? So what if I say it once? I can say it twice, thrice, or even 4 times. What can you do to me? Don't think that you can scare me just because you showed off your skills. If you are not convinced, you can make a move against me. I will show you what a true bladesman is." Xiao Chun did not say anything more. He took a step forward and circulated the dragon claw fist. He held his saber in his left hand without moving and punched with his right. The fist wind howled, and its aura was overwhelming. When Shi Yong saw that his opponent did not even draw his saber, he could not help but smile coldly. "Since you are seeking death, I will grant you your wish." Shi Yong leaned back slightly and held his saber with both hands. A saber light spat out as he hacked at Xiao Chun's fist. Chapter 465. Bang! Xiao Chun's fist wind exploded, and a surging shockwave swept through the surroundings, kicking up fallen leaves. Shi Yong felt his arm tremble, and his saber nearly flew out of his hand. He had not expected Xiao Chun's vital qi to be so strong. Startled, Shi Yong quickly retreated. Xiao Chun's expression remained calm as he activated the blood flame shoes. In the blink of an eye, he arrived before Shi Yong. Xiao Chun formed a claw with his fingers and gathered all the scattered vital qi. Then he swung his claw heavily, and a bloody mark appeared on Shi Yong's chest. "Damn it! I fell for his trick. So, this fellow specializes in claw techniques." Shi Yong retreated again. At the same time, he swung his saber at lightning speed, trying to stop Xiao Chun from continuing to attack. Xiao Chun instantly clenched his fist tightly and turned the claw into a fist. An intense fist wind surged forward. This time, Xiao Chun used the blue dragon's qi. The might of this punch blasted away the saber in Shi Yong's hand. It did not stop there. When it struck Shi Yong's chest, it exploded. Boom! Shi Yong's clothes were blasted into tatters, and he was flung more than 100 meters into the air. The might of this punch completely surpassed everyone's expectations. When they saw this, they were all horrified. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chun did not even draw his saber. He used only 3 moves to defeat Shi Yong, like the autumn wind sweeping away fallen leaves. Only the people who came from the same wrestling ring as Xiao Chun were not too surprised. Xia Xian smiled gently and said, "This fellow finally found a superior grade earth-ranked fist and palm technique. His strength has indeed soared." After Xiao Chun punched, Shi Yong's body landed heavily on the ground after a long time. He gave off a dull thud before he fainted. Shi Yong's friends looked at Xiao Chun with hostile gazes. They quickly came over and carried Shi Yong away. This was especially so for that swordsman. A hidden killing intent flashed in his eyes. When Hua Yunfei and the others saw Xiao Chun finish off Shi Yong in 3 moves, their hearts involuntarily sank, as if something had shattered within them. Back in the plaza, when the other party first saw him, he had declared that he would personally defeat Xiao Chun. Who knew that he couldn't even deal with a small fry, and the person he had said he would defeat easily defeated him in 3 to 5 moves. He felt a sense of helplessness in his heart. Unexpectedly, after being left behind by Xiao Chun, in less than half a year, the gap between them had widened so much. In his lifetime he might not even have the chance to surpass him. Perhaps he might not even have the chance to close the gap between them. Pa pa pa. Zuemo, who was seated in the middle, looked at the white-robed Xiao Chan and clapped gently. He smiled and said, "White-robed bladesman Xiao Chan, you are truly worthy of being the only one to achieve 100 consecutive victories. Incredible! Is he the contestant with 100 wins?" Many people immediately cast curious gazes at Xiao Chan, clicking their tongues. Although most of them had heard of someone obtaining 100 consecutive victories, they had never seen that person before. They did not know who that person was. At this moment they sized up Xiao Chan again. They were even more astonished than before. When Ji Chongkong, Hua Yunfei and the others heard this, they could not help but exchange glances. They were speechless and could only smile bitterly. Duanmuking said calmly, "Back then, we were all defeated at the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. We already lost most of our luck. We should have expected such a situation." The few of them sighed, feeling bitter in their hearts. They did not want to speak anymore. This was probably the so-called stepping stone. Now they did not even have the qualifications to be stepping stones. It was easy to imagine how upset they were. Xiao Chan looked at Zuemo, Pei Xiaoshuan's mysterious senior brother. He said softly, "It is just luck. It is not exaggerated." Zuemo smiled gently and said, "Didn't anyone tell you that luck is also a kind of strength? I have long wanted to experience your great moves. I wonder if I will have the chance?" Xiao Chun nodded and said, "It would be my honor." "Very good, I will not stand on ceremony then." Zuemo's gaze turned cold. He pushed off the ground and leaped forward, sending a palm strike at Xiao Chan. "Kase!" Xiao Chan stabbed his saber into the ground along with its scabbard. Then he charged forward without hesitation. Xiao Chen executed the dragon claw fist and punched the other party's palm. A huge force spread out, and ripples spread out like a screen of water. "Who? Who?" The two of them retreated upon contact. Their bodies started spinning at the same time. As they spun, they slowly dissipated the force from their opponent. After the two landed, they looked at each other in shock. The essence that came from Xiao Chen's palm made Xiao Chen's fingers ache. This person's essence was much purer than his. Xiao Chan did not know how many natural treasures this person consumed. His cultivation technique might even be a heaven-ranked cultivation technique. Zuemo's shock was no less than Xiao Chen's. Pure vital qi surged out from Xiao Chen's fist wind. However, Xiao Chen's essence was no weaker than Zuemo's. Zuemo did not expect Xiao Chan to be able to match Xiao Chan with just vital qi. Xiao. After pondering for a while, the two of them quickly started fighting again. Relying on their fists and legs, they began to fight from top to bottom in the courtyard. The two of them moved very quickly. The weaker ones could only see two blurry figures moving up and down. They could not catch their moves. Interesting. These two fellows. One of them is good at summoning spirit beasts and the other is good at using the saber. They are actually fighting with their fists and legs. The myriad fiend palace's Chumu smiled gently and said, "Zimo Shinya, who do you think will win with their fists and legs?" "Xiao Chen." The two of them said at the same time without hesitation. The strength of Xiao Chen's fists and legs, as well as his physical body, had left a deep impression on the two of them in the wrestling ring. At this moment it was clear that Xiao Chen had obtained an even higher ranked fist technique. He had made up for his only weakness. It was hard to imagine that he would be at a disadvantage. Chumu smiled and said, "I'm afraid I will have to disappoint you." Zuemo's superior grade earth-ranked martial technique, Flowing Cloud Palm, reached great perfection the day before yesterday. Furthermore, he has incredibly pure essence. There is no reason for him to lose. Figures flashed in the wrestling ring and the wind howled. As the strong wind rose and fell, the fallen leaves in the courtyard started falling. Dang! Dang! When the fallen leaves struck the tables and chairs, they were like blades embedded in them. A few cultivators who were caught off guard were even injured by the falling leaves. The clothes on their bodies became tattered. They quickly used all sorts of methods to shatter the fallen leaves. What a strong wind! Unexpectedly, even the aftershocks are so strong. This is still not their true strength. They are just supporting moves. If they were to fight for real, how strong would they be? The crowd thought to themselves. As they looked at the two people in the plaza, a look of astonishment flashed in their eyes. To these people, the 20 spots to enter the ancient desolate tower were already in the bag. In the air, Xiao Qin's fists danced. Sometimes, he would use his left hand as a claw and his right hand as a fist, alternating between the two. Sometimes he would directly use the wind generated by his fists to face his enemies. Zuomo's strange style was unpredictable. Zuomo's expression remained calm as he did his best to block Xiao Qin's attacks. It was very difficult for him to find an opportunity to attack Xiao Qin. With two different styles, he did not dare to act rashly. Bang bang bang. Explosions rang out in the air again. Vital qi and essence collided, creating ripples. The strong wind in the courtyard intensified once more. Both of them took 5 steps back and stood in the air. Their clothes and hair fluttered in the strong wind. This is the first time I have seen a martial technique that alternates between the fist and the claw. However, if this is all you have, then it ends here. Zuomo shouted and launched another sneak attack. His palm wind danced, and the clouds in the air linked together, making it seem like he was in a sea of clouds. Explode! When Zuomo sent out a palm strike, the clouds gathered. When they got close to Xiao Qin, they exploded in the air. A horrifying shock wave surged out. Xiao Qin crossed his arms, forming the stance of a crouching tiger hidden dragon. Then he retreated 100 meters. Flowing cloud burst. The unending stream of flowing cloud palms was like a cannonball, causing the clouds to explode violently at Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin took a step forward in the air, no longer retreating. His body roared like a tiger and a dragon as he clashed head-on with the unending stream of flowing cloud burst. Bang! 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 The surging flowing clouds exploded in the air. The energy formed by pure yuan qi exploded with a loud bang, forming beautiful clouds that radiated light in all directions. The boundless clouds covered Xiao Qin's figure, preventing others from seeing the exact situation. When Chumu felt the energy of the clouds, he smiled faintly. I was right, right? After the flowing cloud palm reached great perfection, its might more than doubled. The mysterious phenomenon it creates is even more shocking. After the light scatters, it should be the time of Xiao Qin's defeat. Even if he still has a saber technique that he has not used and Zuomo has not summoned his spirit beast, in the end Zuomo is stronger. His 100 consecutive victories can only be attributed to luck. Zhang Zimo looked at the bright clouds in the sky and shook his head. That might not be the case. Are you still going to persist? Let's see the result. Chumu could not understand why Zhang Zimo persisted. Xiao. When the light completely scattered, Xiao Qin slowly revealed himself. His white clear wind robes fluttered in the air. As his hair fluttered in the wind, he did not seem to be in a sorry state. Zuomo's expression changed slightly. He felt incredulous. He thought to himself, how strong is this fellow's physical body? Even a half-step martial monarch would not dare to receive my flowing cloud burst. Xiao Qin slowly lowered his crossed arms and suppressed the surging qi and blood in his body. He said softly, flowing cloud burst, not bad. In that case, receive a punch from me as well. Berserk Dragon Fist. Xiao Qin shouted and his figure flickered. He circulated his vital qi in his abdomen, and the berserk vital qi quickly flowed to his arm. The muscles on Xiao Qin's right arm immediately swelled up. The blue dragon tattoo also started to move quickly. Xiao Qin felt like he was filled with boundless energy. Roar! The image of an azure dragon head appeared on Xiao Qin's arm. It carried the might of a blue dragon as it rushed at Zuomo. Flowing cloud burst. This move was very ferocious. Zuomo did not dare to be careless. The surrounding white clouds immediately infused into his right palm. A white jade-like light appeared on his palm. Everyone present held their breath and watched carefully. The myriad fiend palace's Chumu also had a surprised expression on his face. He had not expected Xiao Qin to be able to send out such a strong punch. Bang! The jade-like smooth palm collided with the dragon head and immediately gave off a deafening explosion. A semicircle of energy formed in front of the two as they clashed intensely. Chapter 466. Zuomo's face turned slightly red. His surging essence poured into his smooth, jade-like palm like a flowing river. The glazed white light became even brighter. Interesting, this is the first time I met an opponent with such surging essence. Xiao Chun could not help but feel excited. The qi whirlpool in his body spun and his essence merged with his vital qi. Boom! This time, Zuomo's strength increased explosively. After the dragon head roared, Zuomo was immediately knocked back. Xiao Chun shouted again and took 5 steps in the air. Then he changed his fist into a claw and executed the berserk dragon. Hu Qi! The dragon head twisted and quickly turned into an azure dragon claw. Xiao Chun retracted his arm and swung it forward. Qi! Qi! The azure dragon claw instantly left 5 bloody wounds on Zuomo's chest. It looked very horrifying. Defeat! Xiao Chun's gaze turned stern and stern. He extended the dragon claw and pressed it heavily on Zuomo's chest. Zuomo vomited a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground like a sandbag. Xiao Chun stood proudly in the air and scattered the blue dragon's energy. The berserk energy immediately dissipated into the strong wind. Unexpectedly, even Zuomo is not a match for him. Could this Xiao Chun already be the strongest person in the 4 nations? It is hard to say. Zuomo's greatest strength is summoning spirit beasts to fight. I heard that he already has a rank 8 spirit beast in his spirit blood jade. That might not be the case. Xiao Chun is a bladesman. He did not even draw his saber. No matter what, Xiao Chun only has the upper hand in terms of punches and kicks. As for who is stronger between the two of them, they will have to fight for real before it can be determined. When the crowd saw Zuomo fall to the ground, they were all extremely shocked. Zuomo had already become famous 2 years ago. In the previous 5-nation youth competition, he had managed to get into the top 20. He had fought his way up without any exaggeration. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chun, who had just risen up, had beaten him into such a sorry state with his fists and feet. Jiang Zimo smiled gently and said, "Chumu, I was right? It would not be an exaggeration to say that Xiao Chun's physical defense is the strongest under martial monarch. Now that he's obtained a top earth rank fist technique, he's like a tiger that's grown wings. I'm afraid that in terms of fist techniques, ordinary fist masters aren't a match for him." Chumu muttered in a low voice, "It looks like we really underestimated him. 100 consecutive victories is not as simple as luck. 2 years from now, this person will be our main competitor." Zuomo climbed up in a slightly disheveled manner. Looking at Xiao Chun in the air, he grimaced and said, "It seems that I was rash to use my fists and legs to fight against you. I am going to use my true power. Please use your blade." Xiao! When Xiao Chun landed on the ground, he waved his left hand and grabbed the lunar shadow saber stuck in the ground. The beast taming abode focused on taming and summoning spirit beasts. Zuomo being able to use his fists and legs to fight against him for so long had already surpassed Xiao Chun's expectations. If Zuomo continued to use his fists and legs, it would be hard to avoid being careless. Xiao Chun said softly, "You are too polite. Please make your move." Zuomo. It has only been a year since we last met, and you can't even deal with an inferior grade martial king? You've really disappointed us." Just at this moment, a disharmonious voice resounded in the air. Everyone looked up and saw 4 handsome and elegant youths in embroidered robes. 4 handsome and elegant young men dressed in embroidered robes floated in the air with gloomy eyes. Their auras surged to the heavens. Zuomo's expression changed greatly. Suddenly, a boundless hatred appeared in his eyes. He said through clenched teeth, "Xieziwen." Some of the more knowledgeable people below also had ugly expressions on their faces. Xieziwen was the second disciple of the Evil Moon Pavilion's Pavilion Master, one of the 10 great sects of the Great Jin Nation. Furthermore, he was the person who eliminated Zuomo in the previous 5-nation youth competition. Why is he here in the ancient desolate land? Everyone wondered suspiciously. Haha, there are quite a few familiar faces here. Ding Fengqiu, Jiang Zimo, Chumu, and Pei Xiaoxian are here as well. Xieziwen led the 3 and slowly descended 100 meters above the ground. Then he called out names in a frivolous tone. Aside from the few people he called out, the others did not even bother to look at them. They were extremely arrogant. Although most of the people present were unconvinced, they did not show much dissatisfaction on their faces. In the previous 5-nation youth competition, Xieziwen had stopped at rank 12. He was just short of entering the top 10, standing at the peak of the entire continent. Sieziwen had the capital to be arrogant. He could indeed look down on them. Senior brother, it looks like there are no experts worth paying attention to here. Even if they enter the ancient desolate tower, it would be pointless. The three people behind Sieziwen also had the symbol of the Evil Moon Pavilion embroidered on their collars. Clearly, they were from the Evil Moon Pavilion as well. The people from the four great nations are still as trash as they were in the past. Sieziwen smiled faintly and said, "That is not a problem. This is good as well. Our chances of entering the ancient desolate tower have increased." When the people below heard this, their expressions immediately changed. Since when could the people of the Great Jin nation participate in the selection for the ancient desolate tower? When Sieziwen saw the expressions of the people below, he smiled and said, "Ha ha! Don't be so shocked. The current Heavenly Extermination Union's alliance chief owes my master a big favor. Now is the time for him to return the favor. You must be very sad. We lost another 4 spots in an instant. Ha ha." Sieziwen revealed a playful smile as he hovered in the air. He did not care about the crowd at all. It was as if he could defeat them all and had already secured 4 spots. Let's go. It looks like there are no worthy opponents. The great Zhuo could not even defeat an inferior grade martial king. This is pointless. Xiao. Veins bulged on Zhuo's face as he quickly formed hand seals with his right hand. He immediately summoned out a peak rank 7 red-tailed eagle. This red-tailed eagle had lived for an unknown period of time. Its body was incredibly huge. When it spread its wings, it was more than 20 meters wide. Zhuo stood on it, blocking the path of Sieziwen and the others. "I don't think I invited you to this gathering. Do you think this is your home? You can come and go as you please. Have you asked me, the host?" Zhuo said coldly as the red-tailed eagle flapped its wings. He looked expressionlessly at the person who had caused him to lose miserably in the previous 5-nation youth competition. Sieziwen stood in the air and looked at Zhuo. He said indifferently, "Do you want to fight? Have you thought it through? If I really injure you, you won't be able to participate in the arena battles 5 days from now. Don't blame me for being too ruthless." Zhuo said coldly, "Go ahead and make your move. I have been waiting for the day to take revenge for the past 2 years. Since you have delivered yourself to me, I do not have to wait for another 2 years. Senior brother, do you want us to make a move? He looks like he is only a superior grade martial king. He is still far from his limits. There is no need for you to make a move." Sieziwen smiled faintly and said, "It's fine. Let him know the difference between us. The times are different from 2 years ago. That way, he will not be dreaming of entering the top 20 again." When the others heard this, they did not say anything more and quickly moved aside, leaving space for the 2 of them in the air. Zhuo's expression turned grave. He did not dare to be careless. He leaped up and left the red-tailed eagle below him, charging at Sieziwen. Boom! Boom! As Xiao Chun retreated, his hands quickly formed hand seals. There were a few cracking sounds, and another 3 rank 7 flying spirit beasts appeared in the air. "Go!" Zhuo waved his hand, and the 3 flying spirit beasts flew at Sieziwen. Together with the red-tailed eagle, they surrounded Sieziwen. A rank 7 spirit beast was equivalent to a human superior grade martial king. Furthermore, these spirit beasts had undergone special training. Their combat prowess was stronger than demonic beasts of the same rank. The beast taming abode would make every spirit beast they tamed undergo all sorts of fights and competitions. The ferocity of these spirit beasts was much more terrifying than regular cultivators. However, this was not the most important thing. The most dangerous thing was that the beast-taming abode disciples could use special techniques to control these spirit beasts like they were their own arms. Hence, even though Xiao Chan had suppressed Zhuo earlier, many people did not think that Zhuo would lose. Controlling spirit beasts was the true combat prowess of a beast-taming abode disciple. Bang! 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 Sieziwen sent out strong winds with his palms, blocking the attacks of the 4 flying spirit beasts. As the strong winds blew, the feathers of the birds fell continuously. Although Sieziwen could not break out of the spirit beast's encirclement, he did not feel suppressed. Xiao Chun had a relaxed expression. With one palm strike, he managed to suppress the 4 spirit beasts. When Zhuo saw the situation slowly tilting in his opponent's favor, His expression changed. While he did his best to control the 4 spirit beasts, he summoned out another 2 flying spirit beasts. This time 6 flying spirit beasts appeared. Controlling so many spirit beasts at the same time put Swordsmanship in a very difficult situation. Sweat dripped down his forehead. However, the effort paid off. Under the pincer attack of the 6 spirit beasts, Swordsmanship's expression finally turned cautious. He was no longer as relaxed as before. How strong! I did not expect Swordsmanship to be able to control 6 spirit beasts at the same time. He has probably cultivated the beast-subduing art to the 7th layer. Perhaps this time, he might be able to wash away his previous humiliation. No matter how strong the geniuses of the great Jin nation are, there is a limit. When the crowd saw the advantage tilting in Swordsmanship's favor, they all felt excited. No matter what, they were all people of the 4 great nations. Being looked down on by the people of the great Jin nation would make anyone feel uncomfortable. However, they all knew their limits. They knew they were not a match for Swordsmanship. If Swordsmanship could help them vent their frustrations, they would naturally feel better. Xiao. Just at this moment, Swordsmanship clenched his teeth and quickly formed hand seals. 2 more rank 7 flying spirit beasts appeared. 8. There is hope now. The crowd could not help but exclaim excitedly. Xiao Chan held his lunar shadow saber and glanced at Swordsmanship's 3 juniors. He discovered that they were extremely calm, not showing any fluctuations in their expressions. He thought to himself, it looks like things are not that simple. No matter how many rank 7 spirit beasts there are, they might not be able to suppress Swordsmanship. There is no end to this. Break for me. Seeing Swordsmanship summon another 2 spirit beasts, Swordsmanship's expression turned cold. He snorted coldly and a resplendent fiery light appeared on his palms. Ring of Wind Flaming Palm. Swordsmanship pressed his palms together, and a fiery ring of fire immediately spread out from his body. Bang! The first ring of fire knocked back the 6 spirit beasts. The second ring of fire ignited all the feathers on the 6 flying spirit beasts. Chapter 467. The third wave of flames exploded. All the spirit beasts that came into contact with the flames cried out in pain. Rings of flames appeared one after another. From a distance, Swordsmanship's body looked like he was bathed in a fiery light. The might of the rings of flames grew stronger with each wave. By the 6th ring, all the spirit beasts were severely injured and on their last breaths. Swordsmanship's expression changed greatly. He quickly recalled the severely injured spirit beasts. He had raised these spirit beasts since they were young. Every one of them was worth cities. As long as they did not die, there was still hope of saving them when they returned to the spirit blood space. You think you can escape? You are just a bunch of beasts, yet you want to injure me. Swordsmanship, who had his palms pressed together, looked coldly at Swordsmanship's actions. Then he waved his fiery palm 6 times. Bang! 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 6 huge palms made of flames appeared from nowhere and blasted Swordsmanship's spirit beasts into pieces. They died without a complete corpse. Swordsmanship revealed a pained expression. He had not expected Swordsmanship to be so ruthless, actually killing all his spirit beasts. A resolute look flashed in Swordsmanship's eyes. His hands started to form complicated hand seals. A piece of spirit blood jade on his chest slowly released a bright light. A horrifying aura spread out from Swordsmanship's body, causing others to feel a faint pressure. Rank 8 spirit beasts, huh? Unfortunately, you do not have the chance to summon them out. Swordsmanship's figure flashed, and a blazing flame appeared behind him. Wherever he went, the air seemed to burn. The 2 rank 7 spirit beasts quickly pounced at Swordsmanship, trying to buy time for Swordsmanship. Swordsmanship laughed maniacally and disappeared. Unexpectedly, he broke through the obstruction of the 2 spirit beasts. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Swordsmanship's 9-winged demonic ape. Come out. Swordsmanship finally completed the last hand seal. His face was very pale. A ring of light appeared in front of his chest. A horrifying aura came from it, and a beast roared. The sound waves were very horrifying. Swordsmanship bore the brunt of it and was nearly blown away. He calmed himself and looked at the 9-winged demonic ape, who had already peeked its head out. Swordsmanship roared angrily, "Go back." The dazzling flame appeared on his right palm once again. The flame was dazzling and extremely hot, making it seem like he was holding a small sun in his palm. Bang! The palm print landed on the nine-winged devil ape's head. The nine-winged devil ape let out a painful cry as it was forced back. The circle of light also began to slowly close. Poochie! Summoning an 8th grade Ling beast already took up large amounts of mental energy. Now that the summoning had failed, Zhuomo's face was completely bloodless and he spat out an arrow of blood. His entire body swayed in the air, as if he would fall at any moment. Xie smiled coldly and said, "You are seeking your own humiliation. Don't blame me for being ruthless." Scram! The flames in his palm gathered again and pressed heavily towards Zhuomo. If this pressed down, Zhuomo would have to rest for at least half a year. In the arena battle 5 days later, he would have no chance at all. His entire future might be ruined. Hu Qi! Just at this moment, a dazzling purple saber chi flickered with electric light as it quickly flew towards the center of the two. The timing of the person who attacked was very accurate. It happened to be the instant Xieziwen's palm pressed down. It was neither too late nor too early. This forced Xieziwen to give up on attacking and turn around to defend against this saber chi. Bang! Xieziwen turned around and sent out a palm strike at the dazzling saber chi. The saber chi instantly shattered and turned into motes of starlight. The saber chi was not very strong. However, the state it contained was very strong. Xieziwen was not prepared and was forced back a few meters. Zhuomo quickly took advantage of this opportunity to land on the ground. His fellow sect members immediately took out medicinal pills and infused essence into him to treat his injuries. Xieziwen stabilized himself and looked down with a lightning-like gaze. When he saw Xiao Chan maintaining his saber stance, his expression turned cold and he landed on the ground with a so sound. "You are just an inferior grade martial king and you dare to attack me? Are you tired of living?" When faced with Xieziwen's angry shout, Xiao Chan said calmly, "It is just an exchange of pointers. There is no need to be so ruthless." Xieziwen and Zhuomo had only met by chance. There was no need for him to help Zhuomo. However, when Xieziwen saw that Zhuomo did not care about the people of the 4 nations, he felt dissatisfied. Since Xiao Chen could help, it did not matter. He would just treat it as sowing good karma. When Xieziwen heard this, he could not help but smile. He said, "Interesting. Since when did an inferior grade martial king dare to lecture me like this? It looks like you have been watching the sky from the bottom of a well for too long. Did your elders not teach you any principles? Today, I will kick your elders and teach you how to respect the seniors from the great Jin nation." Pa! After Xieziwen spoke, he sent out a palm strike. A huge palm made of flames smashed down at Xiao Chan with a high temperature. Poochie! Xiao Chan leaped up and a purple saber light flickered on it. He raised his saber and instantly chopped the huge flame palm in half. The flame palm quickly scattered into the surroundings, turning into motes of starlight and disappearing into the air. Xieziwen's expression changed slightly. When he saw the flickering electric light on his saber, he focused his gaze. This fellow's cultivation is not very high. However, his state of thunder is extraordinarily strong. It is comparable to Xieziwen's great perfection state of fire. It looks like I have to use 70% of my strength to defeat him. Dance of 1,000 flames! Xieziwen shouted, and resplendent flame ribbons appeared on his fingertips. Then he quickly soared into the sky. After a while, Xiao Chan soared more than 500 meters high. The 10-finger-sized flame ribbons instantly extended to 600 or 700 meters long. Xieziwen's 10 fingers moved gently, and the ribbons of flames danced like ribbons under the refraction of the sunlight. They looked very beautiful. The 700 or 800 meters long flame ribbons crisscrossed in the air, looking like ribbons dancing in the wind. Under Xieziwen's control, the flame ribbons quickly wrapped around Xiao Chan. The flame was not as tempting as it looked. When Xiao Chan felt that horrifying temperature, he gave up on using his physical body to test it. Dang! 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 When Xiao Chen's saber, which contained the power of thunder, struck the flame ribbons, it was like he struck a weapon. It gave off clanging sounds and countless sparks flew. Xieziwen laughed maniacally and increased the speed of his fingers. His figure followed Xiao Chen's advance, constantly changing positions in the air. This resulted in Xiao Chen trying to escape a few times. However, He was blocked by the flame ribbons. Chi! Xiaochun took in a deep breath. The flame ribbons brushed against his right hand, which was holding his weapon. It immediately burned him painfully, nearly causing him to lose his grip on his weapon. Hu Qi! Xieziwen took advantage of this opportunity to spin his index finger. The flame ribbons immediately formed a knot and flew towards Xiaochun's right cheek. Not only did Xieziwen want to defeat Xiaochun, but he also wanted to teach him an unforgettable lesson. He wanted Xiaochun to know that, given his status, he was not qualified to interfere in certain matters. Dang! Xiaochun felt a chill in his heart. This fellow is really ruthless. Holding the lunar shadow saber, he sent the flame ribbons flying with a flicker of electric light. Looking at the burn on the back of his hand, Xiaochun entered deep thought. It looks like I have a way to deal with this. I should observe for a while longer. The flame ribbons filled the air. Xiaochun's figure moved along with the dancing ribbons. His body flipped sideways, up and down, left and right. Occasionally, Xiaochun brandished the lunar shadow saber and dodged some of the flame ribbons that he could not avoid. The people below all stood up unknowingly. When they saw the long flame ribbons dancing in the air, they were so astonished that they could not close their mouths. What martial technique is this? Why is it so strange? It completely traps him in there, preventing him from escaping. Such proficient flame control techniques. This Yeziwen state of fire has truly reached an unimaginable level. I wonder how Xiaochun will deal with this. Feels like there is no way to deal with it. Unless he scatters this dance of 1,000 flames before it is activated, he will lose. In my opinion, once he is trapped in it, he will basically fail. This might be a martial technique from the ancient era. In the entire Tianwu continent, only that place has a complete inheritance of an ancient era martial technique. Otherwise, it would not be so strange. The crowd discussed among themselves as they marveled at this strange martial skill. Many of them tried to imagine what they would do if they were in Xiaochun's shoes. They wondered if they could do better than Xiaochun. However, the results were disappointing. Unless they could interrupt Xiaochun immediately or surpass him in terms of essence, they could break the flame ribbons. Otherwise, if they were trapped in it, defeat would only be a matter of time. Let's see how long you can last. Seeing that he could not truly injure Xiaochun, Xieziwen could not help but feel frustrated. After all, in his opinion, Xiaochun was barely strong enough for him to make a move. If he could not deal with Xiaochun after a long time, even if he won in the end, it would be unbefitting of his status. Suddenly, Xieziwen's index finger started to move rhythmically. The 5 flame ribbons on the outermost layer suddenly formed a pillar, trapping Xiaochun firmly. However, the innermost 5 of them condensed together and shot out. Their speed was twice as fast as before, leaving almost no time for anyone to dodge. Xiaochun's expression did not change. However, he rejoiced in his heart. This was the opportunity he had been waiting for. He sheathed the lunar shadow saber with his right hand. An azure vital qi quickly poured into Xiaochun's palm. Just as the condensed flame ribbons were about to approach him, Xiaochun tilted his body slightly and grabbed them with his right hand. He tilted his body slightly and grabbed with his right hand. A cyan dragon claw suddenly appeared and grabbed the flame belt. Puchi! The dragon's claws gripped the scorching flame belt, producing intense friction. Clusters of sparks sputtered in all directions. Xiaochun had tested the temperature of the flames earlier. He knew that the flames were not as scary as he had imagined. With the quality of his body and his full vital qi, he would not be able to withstand the heat of the flames. As long as he endured the heat, he would be able to grab the flame ribbons without getting injured. Xiaochun had been waiting for the other party to condense the flame ribbons for a long time already. Blood Flame Shoe's secret technique, activate! Xiaochun shouted, and the patterns on his shoes instantly lit up. His speed instantly reached Mach 4. Xiaochun's figure flickered as he grabbed the 5 flame ribbons and leaped out of the barrier. He immediately felt relaxed. Chapter 468. Xieziwen stared at the 5 flame ribbons in shock. He could not understand how Xiaochun was able to withstand the temperature of the flame ribbons. After being stunned for a while, Xieziwen reacted. He moved his fingers and controlled the other 5 flame ribbons to lengthen again. He wanted to envelop Xiaochun again. This time, as long as he could envelop Xiaochun, He would rather spend more time than take any more risks. Xiao Chun looked at the lengthening flame ribbons and smiled gently. How could he make the same mistake twice? Get down! Xiao Chun shouted and merged his vital qi and essence. His strength reached a horrifying 400,000 kilograms of force. He held the 5 flame ribbons in his right hand and flung them at the ground. Hence, the crowd saw a shocking scene. The owner of the flame ribbons was actually flung up by Xiao Chun and smashed into the ground. Bang! Outside the courtyard, Xieziwen's body landed heavily on a river a kilometer away. He kicked up huge waves and rippled the water. Chi! Chi! When the flame ribbons landed on the water, they burned continuously. Water and fire were incompatible. The temperature of the flame ribbons caused the water to boil. Steam rose from the surface of the river. Soon steam filled the air and steam filled the air. When Xiao Chun felt the flame ribbons in his hand weaken, he did not hesitate to pull them up again. The huge force immediately pulled Xieziwen out of the river. It looks like this dance of 1,000 flames cannot be dispersed so quickly, Xiao Chun thought to himself. Otherwise, Xieziwen would have dispersed the flame ribbons the moment he grabbed them. This is good. Xiao Chun grabbed the flame ribbons and infused all his vital qi and essence into the dragon claw on his arm. Then he flung them at the ground. It was like Xieziwen was tied up by a rope and tossed around on the ground in all directions. A kilometer away with Xiao Chun as the center, Xieziwen's body bounced up and down in the air. When he landed, he immediately created a huge crater. Bang! Bang! Bang bang bang! Immediately, huge pits appeared in the surroundings of the courtyard. Such a commotion attracted the attention of some of the cultivators passing by. When Xiao Chun saw Xiao Chun tossing a peak superior grade martial king in the air like he was tossing a toy, he gaped in disbelief. Fuck, this guy is a little too exaggerated. In the courtyard, an outstanding talent from the Great Chu Nation could not help but exclaim. An expert from the Great Jin Nation's Evil Moon Pavilion was actually toyed with by Xiao Chun. Half a quarter of an hour ago, Xiao Chun was still in a perilous situation. Half a quarter of an hour later, everything was reversed. The speed was so fast that it was hard for anyone to react. Xiao. When Xiao Chun relaxed his grip, he discovered that the flames had completely disappeared. He looked at Xieziwen, who was on the ground, without hesitation. His figure flickered as he charged forward. While he was flying, he executed the roaming dragon's 9 transformations, creating 9 identical clones. Xieziwen was in a sorry state in the deep pit. His hair was disheveled, and his complexion was pale. Blood leaked out of the corner of his lips, and his clothes were in tatters. When Xieziwen saw Xiao Chun descending, rage flashed in his eyes. He pressed his palms together, and rings of flame spread out from his body. This was Xieziwen's unique consummate technique, the ring of wind flaming palm. Bang! 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 The fiery flames carried a ferocious energy. They blasted Xiao Chen's clones into energy fragments, causing them to vanish into nothingness. Xieziwen glanced at the last remaining clone, and his gaze turned cold. He said coldly, "Die." Xieziwen withdrew the rings of flames around him, and all the fire-attributed energy gathered in his right palm. A scorching, resplendent, sun-like flame immediately ignited on his palm. The surrounding air began to boil from the heat of his palm. Countless sparks appeared in the air, looking like stars in the sky. Boom! The palm wind struck Xiao Chen's body. The last Xiao Chun was instantly blasted into smithereens, dying without a complete corpse. Oh no! I killed Xiao Chun in one move. However, Xieziwen's expression changed drastically. Xieziwen quickly turned around and sent out a palm strike. An intense flaming palm wind instantly exploded. Xiao Chen's true body flashed, and he placed his right hand on his saber hilt. He instantly executed drawing the saber, his fastest move. A purple bolt of lightning tore through the surging flames and hacked down at Xieziwen. Wuxia. As the electric light flickered, Xiao Chen's sudden attack immediately broke through Xieziwen's defense and left a long wound on his shoulder. Bang! The surging force of the saber sent Xieziwen flying back 100 meters. When Xieziwen saw the flickering electric light on the wound on his shoulder, he was horrified. What kind of martial technique is this? Unexpectedly, it can completely hide its killing intent. This fellow is too terrifying. I cannot leave him alive. Otherwise, there will be endless trouble in the future. Even though he is only an inferior grade martial king, he is already so strong. If I give him another 2 years, he might even have the strength to suppress me in the 5-nation youth competition. After Xie Ziwen made up his mind, he swallowed a medicinal pill and looked coldly at Xiao Chan. He said, "Very good. You actually managed to injure me. Cripple yourself now, and I will spare you. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing you." The lunar shadow saber sent out a saber light from his wrist. Xiao Chan smiled gently and said, "You are really arrogant. Open your eyes and look at the world properly. Stop being immersed in the legends of the great Jin nation. The times have changed long ago. Do you really think that the geniuses of the great Jin nation can do whatever they want now? Now that the era of geniuses had just sprouted, geniuses appeared everywhere. No matter who it was, being arrogant would only lead to being abandoned by the times." Even though Xie Ziwen was one of the top 12 contestants in the previous 5-nation youth competition, he was no exception. This was the general trend. Only by being at ease and keeping one's feet on the ground could one truly walk down this path. "I will not shed tears until I see the coffin. Whether I am arrogant or not, you will know soon enough." Xie Ziwen snorted coldly and brought out his state of fire to its limits. The temperature within 500 meters immediately soared. An ethereal and formless fire spread everywhere. Thousand Flame Palm. Xie Ziwen sent out another palm strike. The palm of fire looked very solid. Even the lines on the palm became clear. Boom! 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 Xie Ziwen took a deep breath and released his killing qi. His palm images danced around, and a palm of fire filled the air, pressing towards Xiao Chan. The peak state of fire is indeed powerful, Xiao Chan thought to himself as he looked at the palm images filling the air. Xiao Chan tore off the strip of cloth covering his forehead. The red mark on Xiao Chan's forehead started to flicker quickly. The purple saber immediately flickered with a scarlet light. Wuxia breaks the heavens. Xiao Chan grasped his saber with both hands and merged the state of thunder and state of massacre. The purple and red lights on the saber formed a strange pillar of light. When the Wuxia tree above Xiao Chen's head completely formed, the pillar of light quickly elongated. With the support of the state of massacre, the pillar of electric light swept out. All the palm images were like the autumn wind sweeping away fallen leaves. When the pillar of light touched them, they immediately disappeared, turning into countless sparks. After breaking his opponent's 1,000 flame palm in one move, Xiao Chan did not stop. He executed the Wuxia saber technique's 8th move, which he had never used before. Under the blazing sun, the sky suddenly turned dark. Boundless thunderclouds spread out and thunder roared, raising Xiao Chen's aura to its limits. Xie Ziwen's expression changed greatly. His figure flashed as he quickly retreated. Earlier, Xiao Chan had tossed him around like a toy. He had already sustained significant internal injuries. After that, he made a mistaken judgment and got struck in the shoulder by Xiao Chen's saber. Originally, Xie Ziwen thought that when he executed the 1,000 flame palm with his state of fire, he would be able to take down his opponent in one move. Who would have imagined that Xiao Chan would use one trump card after another? Unexpectedly, Xiao Chan grasped two different states? When the state of massacre and state of thunder merged together, it completely suppressed Xie Ziwen's state. Now that Xie Ziwen saw such a horrifying saber technique, fear rose in his heart. He only wanted to dodge quickly. Wuxia moves heaven! Xiao Chan shouted, and the thunderclouds in the sky quickly gathered under the guidance of the saber. A kilometer high in the sky, Xiao Chen's eyes lit up. The thunderclouds formed the trunk of a scarlet Wuxia tree. The tree trunk grew rapidly and soon leaves covered the sky, reaching a height of 100 meters. Rumble! 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 It was unknown whether it was a misperception or an illusion, but the instant the Wuxia tree completely formed, the people below felt like the sky shook. The laws of heaven and earth seemed to have changed. Xie Ziwen moved back continuously. However, he discovered that he could not move at all. He was still moving around in his original spot. Damn it! The laws of heaven and earth have changed slightly. There is no way to dodge this move, Xie Ziwen thought in horror. The Wuxia saber technique was an ancient martial technique, modified by the Thunder King, Sang Mu. The final 3 moves were all killing moves. Each move was stronger than the one before it. It could be said to be the limit of a peak earth-ranked martial technique. Ever since Xiao Chan learned the Wukuei moves the heaven, he had not used it yet. This was because this move was so mighty that even he did not dare to be confident of it. This was especially so after he merged the state of massacre. Xiao Chan did not dare to estimate how strong this move would be. Once he used it, no one under half-step martial monarch would be able to receive it. Even a half-step martial monarch would have to pay a heavy price if they dared to receive it head-on. It was fine if he didn't make a move, but once he made a move there would be no turning back. Xie Ziwen was strong and talented. Since Xiao Chan had already offended him, there was no need to hold back. Xiao Chan wanted to severely injure Xie Ziwen and disqualify him from competing for the ancient desolate tower. Otherwise, he would have created an opponent for nothing. Boom! Under Xiao Qin's guidance, the 100-meter-tall Wukuei tree descended from the sky. Everywhere it passed, thunder roared and scarlet lightning flashed in the air. The sky changed color. It was like the end of the world. Xie Ziwen was frightened into an unsightly expression. He closed his eyes and pressed his palms together. A gentle flame slowly enveloped him. Since Xie Ziwen could not dodge or escape, he could only face this move head-on. Just as the Wukuei tree was about to descend, Xie Ziwen suddenly opened his eyes. The gentle flame gathered in his palm. Chapter 469. Xie Ziwen shouted and smashed his palm against the base of the tree. Bang! The two huge forces clashed in the air. A purple energy ripple spread out rapidly in the air. It seemed like space had been sliced in half. The huge force pressed down, and Xie Ziwen vomited a mouthful of blood. Blood leaked out of all the pores on his body. Xiao! This palm strike knocked the divine tree into the air again. However, it did not show any signs of damage. Even the direction in which it was falling did not change. The rebound from the divine Wukuei tree made Xiao Chan feel uncomfortable. He thought to himself, this person is indeed strong. Unexpectedly, he can still counterattack like this after receiving the heavy blow from Wukuei moves the heavens. Again. Bang! Bang! Under Xiao Qin's guidance, the divine Wukuei tree with a vast and boundless aura smashed into Xie Ziwen repeatedly. Xie Ziwen was indeed very strong. Although his injuries were more severe each time, he managed to endure it after repeating the process 4 or 5 times. When the many cultivators in the air saw this, they were all astonished. The ground under Xie Ziwen's feet had already caved in when the divine tree smashed into it. Blood flowed out of his eyes, nose and mouth. It was a frightening sight. Just as Xie Ziwen could no longer hold on, an extremely strong aura flew over from the horizon. A black-robed old man smashed his palm against the divine Wukuei tree. Kasie! Kasu! This palm strike contained an unknown amount of force. The entire divine Wukuei tree instantly cracked. After a while it turned into a scarlet shockwave flying through the air. When Xie Ziwen saw the black-robed old man, his expression relaxed. He said somewhat weakly, "Second Martial Uncle, why are you here?" The black-robed old man supported the divine Wukuei tree with one hand. He glanced at Xie Ziwen and said, "You still have the cheek to say that? If I had not heard the commotion and rushed over, you might have been beaten to death. I told you long ago that times have changed. If you maintain the same attitude as before, even if you enter the ancient desolate tower, you will still be crushed to death by the waves." Xie Ziwen did not take the old man's words to heart. He pointed at Xiao Chan and said, "Second Martial Uncle, kill him. You cannot let him off. My internal organs are all injured. I am afraid I will not be able to participate in the arena battles in the ancient desolate tower." When the black-robed old man heard this, he checked Xie Ziwen's injuries. His expression immediately changed as he looked coldly at Xiao Chan. Immediately, Xiao Chan felt a frightening force staring at him. His heartbeat slowed under the old man's gaze. Xiao Chan could not help but be astonished. This black-robed old man was actually a martial monarch. The black-robed old man withdrew his gaze and said coldly, "You are really bold. You even dare to offend the evil moon pavilion. I pray that you never leave the ancient desolate land." After Xiao Chan spoke, he ignored Xie Ziwen's words and quickly left with Xie Ziwen. He left as quickly as he had come. Just as Xiao Chan was wondering why the other party would stop, an extremely powerful aura came from behind him. This was the old man who announced the date of the arena battles at the Tianwu Plaza. As he looked in the direction that Xie Ziwen's second martial uncle left, he smiled coldly and said, "At least he is tactful. What kind of place is this? It is not a place for the Evil Moon Pavilion to be arrogant." Xiao Chun felt relieved. He now knew why the old man did not dare to do anything to him. He said to the old man in the air, "This junior is Xiao Chan. Many thanks for senior's help. May I ask for senior's name?" The old man smiled gently and floated down from the sky. He carefully sized up Xiao Chan and said, "Not bad. 100 consecutive victories is indeed not a fluke. This old man is called Shi Hailong. You can just call me Senior Shi." Xiao Chen nodded and thanked him again. When the other outstanding talents in the courtyard saw the old man, they all flew over and respectfully greeted him. Shi Hailong looked at Xiao Chan and said, "Today, you have helped the Heavenly Extermination Union greatly. As long as you are in the ancient desolate land, I can guarantee that no one from the Evil Moon Pavilion will dare to touch you. I have something here to thank you personally." Shi Hailong tossed a medicinal pill bottle over. When Xiao Chun opened it and smelled it, he smelled a heavy medicinal fragrance that intoxicated him. After the consecutive battles, Xiao Chun had suffered some internal injuries. When he smelled this fragrance, he immediately felt better. It was actually a medicinal pill for treating internal injuries. Just the fragrance alone was so effective. It was easy to imagine the rank of this medicinal pill. Xiao Chun quickly thanked Shi Hailong. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chun understood what this meant by doing the Heavenly Extermination Union a huge favor. The Heavenly Extermination Union probably did not wish for Xie Ziwen to participate in the fight for the ancient desolate tower. However, Xie Ziwen had used a favor to pressure Xiao Chun, so he had no choice but to do so. Now that Xiao Chun had severely injured Xie Ziwen would not be able to participate in the fight for the ancient desolate tower. Xiao Chun had already repaid the Heavenly Extermination Union's favor and achieved his goal. It would be hard for him not to be happy. Those 20 spots should not be a problem for you. The ancient desolate tower is looking forward to seeing how many floors you can climb. After the old man spoke, he did not linger. With a few flashes, he was already a kilometer away. The strength of a martial monarch was truly unfathomable. Just his speed was enough to astonish the outstanding talents. "Xiao Chun, many thanks for your help earlier." Zhuemo of the beast taming abode thanked Xiao Chun as he stepped forward and performed a cupped fist salute. Xiao Chun said softly, "There is no need to thank me. It was just a small matter." However, Zhuemo smiled bitterly to himself. Indeed, it was just a small matter. However, at that time Xie Ziwen was extremely arrogant. Furthermore, he had the Evil Moon Pavilion behind him. Anyone who dared to help would have to consider the consequences. Not just anyone would dare to make such a move, and not just anyone would be able to do it so accurately. Zhuemo raised his head and looked sincerely at Xiao Chun. He said, "There are no words to express my gratitude. We will meet again in the ancient desolate tower. I hope that we can reach heights that no one before us can reach. At that time we will go to the 5-nation youth competition and make those arrogant geniuses of the great Jin nation lower their heads." Xiao Chun smiled gently and did not say anything more. The gathering came to an end. Originally, it was just a gathering for the members to test each other out. Unexpectedly, it turned out like this. When everyone looked at Xiao Chen, their earlier shock had turned into awe and veneration. Although the battle between Xiao Chen and Zhuemo had not officially started, it was already clear who was stronger. Now Xiao Chen had completely suppressed Zhuemo, becoming the strongest of the younger generation of the 4 nations. Among the young geniuses who were ranked above him, only the top geniuses of Dajin were left. The gap between him and the others had completely widened. After the crowd left, Xiaxian looked at Xiao Chun and said, "Xiao Chun, now that you have offended the Evil Moon Pavilion, although the Heavenly Extermination Union is protecting you, it is hard to avoid them playing tricks. How about you stay at the Thousand Sword Pavilion's branch before the arena battles begin?" Xiaxian invited him again. Xiao Chun was too embarrassed to reject her again. Furthermore, Xiaxian's words made sense. It would be easy for the other party to play tricks. Although Xiao Chun was not afraid of such things, it would still be troublesome. So he agreed to Xiaxian's invitation. As the two of them headed for the Thousand Sword Pavilion's branch, a middle-aged man with a black scar on his face stood at the top of a tree outside the courtyard. A middle-aged man with a black scar on his face stood on the top of a tree and stared at Xiao Chun expressionlessly. If Xiao Chun noticed this person, he would discover that this person was the dark church remnant that stole the martial sage's corpse. It is indeed the blue dragon chi. I used it a few times in the wrestling ring and a few more times today. I can go and verify it with the vice churchmaster. It is indeed the blue dragon chi. I used it a few times in the wrestling ring and a few more times today. I can go and verify it with the vice churchmaster. On a nameless island outside Desolate City, a black stone coffin lay in the center of a secret room. A robust corpse lay in the coffin. The coffin was filled with a viscous red liquid that bubbled continuously. Strands of red energy slowly poured into the corpse. The corpse looked like it was alive. Its skin glistened as it soaked in the liquid. It did not look like a corpse at all. When Xiao Chun saw the corpse's appearance, he discovered that it was the martial sage's corpse that the scarred man had stolen from Qianren Island. A few cultivators wearing black robes embroidered with red clouds stood around the coffin. They watched the corpse in the coffin anxiously, occasionally adding some materials into the coffin. Even closer to the wall was a black-robed old man with a gloomy aura. He looked excitedly at the corpse in the coffin, his expression filled with anticipation. As he stood there, he looked like a dark shadow hiding in the room. The originally dim secret room seemed to turn even darker because of him. How is it? How long will it take before this corpse can be completely refined into a demonic corpse? The black-robed old man's hoarse voice resounded in the secret room. A cultivator stopped what he was doing and said respectfully to the old man, reporting to Vice Churchmaster Ding, "It will take another half a year before it can be completely refined. We are incompetent. It has taken too long. Otherwise, we could have taken it out in the battle with the Blood Wolf gang." No one knew if the Dark Church's churchmaster was dead or alive. Normally, only the 3 vice churchmasters appeared before the members of the Dark Church. Aside from this old man, the other 2 vice churchmasters spent most of their time wandering around and did not care about the Dark Church's affairs. Hence, this old man could be considered the true churchmaster of the Dark Church. Old Man Ding smiled and said, "It is not long at all. It is only half a year. This is a rare physical body martial sage that appears once in 1,000 years. As for the Blood Wolf gang, there is no need for you to care about them. They are just some small fries." Dong! 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 There was knocking on the door of the secret room. Then the stone door opened. A member of the Dark Church surrounded by Black Chi arrived before Churchmaster Ding and whispered a few words to him. After Old Man Ding heard this, his face lit up in joy again. He waved his hand, dismissing this person. Then he said to the 4 people refining the martial sage's corpse, "Stay in this secret room for half a year and do not leave. When the matter is done, I will reward you." The 4 nodded quickly. Then the old man left the secret room and arrived at a large hall. The scarred man had been waiting in the hall for a long time already. When he saw the old man, he quickly bowed and said, "Wu Yang greets Churchmaster." A smile appeared on Churchmaster Ding's wrinkled face. He said, "There is no need to be so polite. What good news do you have for me?" Wu Yang nodded and said, "The brat who snatched away the martial sage's burial items on Qianren Island is indeed the inheritor of the Blue Dragon martial spirit." When Churchmaster Ding heard this, his expression changed slightly. He entered deep thought. Before the Churchmaster went into closed-door cultivation, he said that the inheritor of the Blue Dragon martial spirit would definitely appear. It looked like this was true. Chapter 470. The sect leader had said that he would give this person a little test. If he couldn't pass the test, he would be a piece of trash and could be killed directly. Sect leader Ding sized up Wu Yang for a while and came up with an idea. He said, "Wu Yang, the minor fiend essence pill that I gave you not long ago is pretty effective, right? You advanced to half-step martial monarch in just half a month." The fiend essence pill was a high-ranked medicinal pill unique to the Dark Church. It was extremely effective for cultivators with demonic beast martial spirits. It could help them break through bottlenecks in a short time. In the eyes of the Nether Church's cultivators, they were extremely attractive. Under normal circumstances, The Nether Church's cultivators would not be able to defeat the Nether Church. Apart from the 9 great elders, the others had to make great contributions in order to receive such a reward. After Wu Yang brought back the corpse of a martial sage, Churchmaster Ding bestowed him with 3 minor fiend essence pills, which immediately increased his strength and allowed him to break through to half-step martial monarch. Wu Yang's heart skipped a beat. He knew that something good was coming. Suppressing his joy, he said, "Many thanks to sect leader for nurturing me. The effect of the small fiend essence pill is indeed very good." Sect leader Ding gently smiled and said, "Then I'll leave this matter to you. Find an opportunity to kill this person. After you're done, I'll give you a major demon essence core." Greater demon essence core. The scar on Wu Yang's face couldn't help but twitch. The grand demon essence pill was something that even the 9 great elders could only obtain once a year. If he could obtain it, he would have a 70% chance of becoming a martial emperor. "Thank you, sect leader. I, Wu Yang, will not disappoint you." As Churchmaster Ding watched Wu Yang leave, he muttered to himself, "This fellow just advanced to half-step martial monarch not long ago. He is the most suitable candidate to test him. If he could pass the test, he would be of some value. If he couldn't, the sect master wouldn't feel the pinch even if he died." If Wu Yang knew that he was just a chess piece, who knew if he would still be so excited? In a quiet guest room at the Thousand Sword Pavilion's branch, Xiao Chun worked on breaking through to peak consummation of the firmament body tempering art's 4th layer. 4 days had passed since the gathering, and they hadn't encountered any trouble in the Thousand Sword Pavilion. This allowed Xiao Chun to focus all his attention on cultivation. He now had a new understanding of his own strength. Under half-step martial monarchs, Xiao Chun was probably truly unrivaled. Unless a half-step martial monarch appeared, it would be difficult for anyone to deal any substantial damage to him. As long as the geniuses of the Great Jin Nation were not half-step martial monarchs, Xiao Chun was confident of fighting them. After his fight with Xie Ziwen, Xiao Chun was filled with anticipation for the top geniuses of the Great Jin Nation. Xie Ziwen was only ranked 12th. He was already so strong. Despite being injured both internally and externally, he could still resist Wu Kuei moves heaven several times. If Xiao Chun was at his peak, he might have been able to catch the Wu Kuei moves the heavens. The possibility was very high. If one thought about it carefully, Xie Ziwen's defeat had more to do with his mentality. From the very beginning, he had not taken Xiao Chun seriously and had only used 70% of his strength. After that, his dance of thousand flames was broken by Xiao Chun in an overbearing manner. If they were to fight again, it might not be so easy for Xiao Chun to win. Boom! 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 Just at this moment, the remaining 4 acupoints on Xiao Chun's left arm exploded. The dragon chi and the 12 acupoints quickly flowed out. The dragon chi merged and formed a lifelike blue dragon with overwhelming spiritual energy. Finally, the blue dragon imprinted itself on Xiao Chun's arm and turned into a blue dragon tattoo. The strength in his left arm suddenly increased explosively. Xiao Chun clenched his fist tightly and the blood in his veins started to throb intensely. Xiao Chun opened his eyes and smiled gently, "Peak great perfection of the 4th layer. I wonder what layer Bai Lishi is at now? Do I have a chance of catching up to him?" That fellow's physical body cultivation was monstrous. In a short 2 months he had already broken through the 4th layer. Now another 2 months had passed. Xiao Chun would not find it strange that Bai Lishi had broken through to the 5th layer. The cultivation of the physical body had a higher requirement for talent than the cultivation of essence. Xiao Chun got up and pushed open the door. He went to the courtyard and started practicing the Dragon Claw Fist. He had already completed the Berserk Dragon Fist. There was still 1 more day. Xiao Chun decided to focus on stabilizing the Berserk Dragon Fist. He could only practice burning the heavens, breaking the armor, and seizing the heart after he entered the ancient desolate tower. Fist! Xiao Chun shouted and circulated his vital chi. He activated the blue dragon tattoo on his right arm and executed the Berserk Dragon Fist. An azure dragon head quickly appeared on his fist. When Xiao Chun punched, the air rippled like water. The dragon head slowly split in half, forming ripples. Claw! Xiao Chun withdrew his right fist. The dragon head did not scatter, looking majestic. He took half a step forward and formed a claw with his left hand, clawing at the air. An azure dragon claw immediately appeared. As the 5 claws moved, they left 5 deep marks in the air. It was like space was torn apart. Roar! Just at this moment, just as Xiao Chun was about to scatter his energy, the dragon head on his right hand and the dragon claw on his left seemed to fuse together. The head and tail connected, and a complete dragon image appeared behind Xiao Chun. It let out a loud roar, and a strong wind blew in the courtyard, causing the grass to bend. Dragon might spread out uncontrollably from Xiao Chun. In an instant it was like a dragon descending from all directions. With a thought, Xiao Chun held his palms together. The blue dragon behind him immediately turned into a beam of dragon chi and soared into the sky. In an instant it broke through the boundless clouds and entered the vast world outside. The leader of the 1,000-sword pavilion branch suddenly opened his eyes in a pavilion. When he saw the dragon chi soar into the sky, a strange look flashed in his eyes. As he looked at the distant dragon chi in the sky, doubt flashed in Xiao Chun's eyes. He had never heard of the dragon claw fist having such might, able to summon out a complete dragon image. If that was the case, it had something to do with his blue dragon martial spirit. The 2 blue dragon tattoos on Xiao Chun's arms started to move. Before the dragon might scattered, Xiao Chun executed the dragon claw fist from start to finish. However, the previous situation of the dragon descending into the world did not happen again. Feeling suspicious, Xiao Chun continued to explore. The ancient holy beast, the azure dragon martial spirit, had too many secrets. He had a premonition that if he could use this move as he pleased, he would be able to use it as he pleased. He had a feeling that if he could execute this move as he pleased, its might would not be much weaker than Wuxia moves the heavens. It would become Xiao Chun's new trump card. Time slowly went by. Xiao Chun tirelessly practiced the dragon claw fist in the courtyard. Fist winds flickered, kicking up the fallen leaves in the courtyard. Who? At some point in time, a flood dragon made of fallen leaves appeared in the courtyard. As Xiao Chun advanced and retreated, it swam freely in the air. As Xiao Chun brandished his claws, the flood dragon made of fallen leaves looked very unsightly. There was only a vague silhouette. However, there was an aura coming from the flood dragon's body. It contained a faint might that spread throughout the courtyard. Dong! Footsteps entered Xiao Chun's ears. With a thought, Xiao Chun stopped his cultivation technique. The soaring flood dragon immediately scattered. The flood dragon turned into countless fallen leaves drifting in the courtyard, dancing in the cool breeze. Ha! Senior sister, I knew it. Xiao Chun must be practicing. Xiao Rou's melodious laughter resounded outside the courtyard. Xiaxian and Xiao Rou slowly walked in. As the fallen leaves drifted down, Xiaxian could clearly feel a strong wind slowly dissipating. When she looked at Xiao Chun, she could not help but feel that he was unfathomable. Xiao Chun casually waved his hands twice, and a strong wind blew the leaves on their heads to the side, splitting them in the middle. You are here, Xiao Chun said with a smile as he withdrew his hands and stood upright. Xiaxian sized up Xiao Chun and smiled helplessly. After not seeing you for a few days, your strength has increased significantly. Compared to half a month ago, you are probably a completely different person. Xiao Chun nodded and did not deny it. He said seriously, it is still not enough. With the current situation, the era of geniuses has just sprouted. The path of a cultivator will be even more difficult than before. If you do not advance, you will fall behind. Even if you do not move, you will be left far behind by others. Xiao Rou curled her lips and said, You are really boring. Every time you speak, you are always so serious like a block of wood. Xiao Chun shook his head and smiled faintly. He preferred peace and quiet, not liveliness. This was something that would never change. He looked at Xiaxian and asked, Why are you looking for me? Xiaxian said, The 2 of us are looking for you because we want to take a look around Desolate City. There is nothing urgent. However, before my martial uncle left, he suddenly said that he wanted to meet you. However, it should not be anything major. Xiao Chun was surprised. The martial uncle that Xiaxian spoke of was called Luo Chun. He had met him once before. Luo Chun was the leader of this branch. He was in charge of the 1,000-sword pavilion's matters here. He was a martial monarch. As for how strong he was, Xiao Chun did not know. In any case, he was very strong and could easily kill the current Xiao Chun. Xiao Chen nodded and said, "In that case, wait for me. I am also very curious about this desolate city. It would be good to take a look around." With the firmament body tempering art's fourth layer at peak consummation, Xiao Chen could relax for a while. It would be a good idea to take a look around desolate city. Go quickly and come back quickly. Don't make us wait too long. Otherwise, we will not bring you along, Xiao Rou threatened with a smile. Xiao Chen smiled gently and headed for the main building of the branch. After he went up to the pavilion and reported the matter, the guards of the pavilion immediately led Xiao Chen up to the top floor. The pavilion was 100 meters tall and had a total of 15 floors. When Xiao Chen reached the top floor, he could see the surrounding scenery. When Xiaxian's martial uncle saw Xiao Chen, he quickly stood up to welcome him. "You are here. Have a seat. This is the freshly brewed rank 4 spirit tea. Try it." Xiaxian's martial uncle smiled warmly. The tea leaves of the spirit tea were brewed using a special method. They were only sold in Desolate City. After rank 3 spirit tea was sold in limited quantities and was very difficult to obtain. The martial uncle used it to entertain Xiao Chen. This was enough to show his sincerity. Xiao Chen sat down and brought the teacup to his lips. He looked at the steaming tea and gently blew on it. He said, "Senior is too polite. Why are you looking for this junior?" Luo Chen smiled faintly and said, "Little friend, since you are straightforward, I will not beat around the bush. May I ask if little friend's martial spirit is the ancient holy beast, the blue dragon?" When Xiao Chen heard this, he was stunned. He placed the teacup that was already at his lips back on the table. He looked at Luo Chen and said, "Senior, why do you ask?" Luo Chen smiled and said, "Little friend, there is no need to be nervous. I do not have any malicious intentions. It is just that I saw an azure dragon chi soaring into the sky earlier and had some doubts." Chapter 471. The blue dragon martial spirit has not appeared for 1,000 years. It is incomparably mysterious. This old man just happened to know a little about it. If little friend is willing to tell me the truth, this old man will tell you everything he knows. Xiao Chen shook his head and smiled. Senior is overthinking. The so-called dragon chi is just my cultivation technique being special. I do not have a blue dragon martial spirit. If you do not believe me, you can come and check. Luo Chen looked at Xiao Chen's indifferent expression. His heart could not help but waver. Could it be that he really does not have a blue dragon martial spirit? Xiao Chen stood up and said, "If there is nothing else, I will take my leave first." This mountain was not cold yet. As Luo Chen watched Xiao Chen leave, he entered into deep thought. He did not have any malicious intentions. If the blue dragon martial spirit really appeared, it would affect the many powers of the continent. The Thousand-Sword Pavilion would inevitably be dragged into it. If he could form a relationship with Xiao Chen in advance, the Thousand-Sword Pavilion would be much more at ease when faced with such a change. From the looks of it now, perhaps he was overthinking. How many secrets does the blue dragon martial spirit have? Xiao Chen left the pavilion and looked at the sky. His eyes were filled with confusion. As time goes by, this secret will be exposed sooner or later. Never mind, I will deal with it when it comes. The most important thing is to raise my strength. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and stopped thinking about this problem. Then he left with Xiao Rou, who had been waiting for him for a long time. The scenery of Desolate City was very unique. Xiao Chen followed behind the two girls and looked at the world of mortals. He put down the burden in his heart and did not think about anything else. His body and mind relaxed significantly. Under Xiao Rou's instigation, he agreed to pay for the two of them. The two of them immediately walked around the streets in high spirits. They spent money like flowing water. Anything that interested them, they immediately bought it. How much is this hairpin? 300 inferior grade spirit stones. That is so cheap. Senior sister, let's take one each. This floral dress is very exquisite. How much is it? 500 inferior grade spirit stones. That is so cheap. Give me 2 of each color and size. All sorts of noises came out of Xiao Rou's mouth. At some point in time, the smile on Xiao Chen's face started to stiffen. Sorry, my stomach hurts a little. You guys go ahead, I'll go back first. If this went on, no matter how many spirit stones he had, he wouldn't be able to spend them. Xiao Chun pretended to be in pain, found an excuse, and hurriedly slipped away. When Xia Xian saw this, she could not help but giggle. She thought of Xiao Qian, who remained unfazed despite facing outstanding talents from all over the world, as if he wasn't afraid of anything. He was actually scared by Ruru to the point that he pretended to have a stomachache and fled. Xiao asked doubtfully, "Hey, why do you have a stomachache? I still have a few things that I haven't bought." If Xiao Chun hadn't left, he would have vomited blood in anger after hearing this. Early the next morning when the morning sun set, Xia Xian and Xiao Chun went out together again, rushing to the Tianwu Plaza in the city. When they arrived at the plaza, many cultivators had already gathered there. However, because they were not participants, they could not enter. They all looked around curiously. Xia Xian stopped and sighed softly, "What will come will come. Let's meet again at the ancient desolate tower." There were 20 spots. Xia Xian did not dare guarantee that she would obtain them. Thus she said this to boost her morale. Xiao Chen nodded and said, "See you at the ancient desolate tower." Xiao Chen is here. Even Xie Ziwen is not a match for him. If we run into him, it will be difficult. Just admit defeat. What else can they do? They clearly know that they are going to lose, but they still want to continue fighting. They probably won't be able to participate in the next round. This ancient desolate tower has 20 spots. In my opinion, there are only 19. This Xiao Chun is definitely one of them. Seeing Xiao Chun arrive, the cultivators who had already arrived before the Tianwu Emperor's statue all sighed. To them, it was a tragedy for them to have someone like Xiao Chun. They could only pray to the gods that they would not draw him when they drew lots. Xiao Chun did not bother with them. After he wished Xia Xian good luck, he blended into the crowd and waited quietly for Shi Hailong and the others to arrive. Not long after, a group of cultivators with the Heavenly Extermination Union's emblem on them flew over and landed on the platform. The one leading them was Shi Hailong, whom Xiao Chun had seen before. Shi Hailong swept his gaze across the 200-odd cultivators. Then he said to the person beside him, "Go and do a head count. If there are fewer people, wait another 15 minutes. If there are more, we will start immediately." That person received the order and went to do a head count. After he was done, he flew back to the platform and said, 276 people are all here. Shi Hailong nodded and said, "Good. Let's start the first round of drawing lots." For black wooden boxes had already been prepared on the platform. There were holes in the boxes that only allowed one arm to fit through. Under the guidance of the Heavenly Extermination Union, Xiao Chun followed the crowd and drew out a red wooden token from one of the boxes. The number 18 was written in black on the wooden token. After the lots were drawn, Shi Hailong said in a deep voice, "Numbers 1 to 18 will enter the arena first. Those who drew the red token will enter the arena first. Then hang out your number. Those who drew the blue token will find the same number and start the match." The rules were simple and clear. The opponent could be chosen randomly. Xiao Chun approved of the rules. There would be 30 matches in 2 days. Under such rules, it would be able to test a person's strength to the greatest extent. Xiao Chun happened to be number 18. After Shi Hailong spoke, he immediately found an arena and leaped onto it. Then, he hung his token on a pillar. After a while, a great Chu Nation cultivator with an extremely unsightly expression slowly walked up to Xiao Chun's arena. "My luck is really bad. I got this jinx in the first match," that person muttered in a soft voice. As he looked at Xiao Chen, he could not muster any fighting spirit in his heart. The two of them took their stances and bowed to each other. Then they prepared to fight. The two's auras clashed in the air. When the great Chu Nation cultivator saw the calm expression on Xiao Chen's face, he thought of all the rumors about Xiao Chen. Also, when he personally saw Xiao Chen fight Sui Mo and Xie Ziwen, the more he thought about it, the more he felt that he was not a match for Xiao Chen. Just as Xiao Chen was about to make his move, the cultivator sighed helplessly and said, "Stop fighting, I admit defeat." There were more than 200 contestants here, who had passed the first round of selection. They were all outstanding talents from various places. Naturally, they had their own pride. If they said that they would admit defeat before the fight started, it would be hard to avoid a knot in their hearts. First of all, it would not be easy for them to get over it. However, when facing such a strong person like Xiao Chun, The cultivator did not have much confidence in continuing to fight. It would only hurt his essence and increase his exhaustion. This would be very disadvantageous for the next match. After weighing the pros and cons, the cultivator could only helplessly admit defeat. After all, the slot to the ancient desolate tower was the most important. The cultivator could not allow himself to be at a disadvantage in the next match just because of his pride. Xiao Chun shook his head helplessly and walked off the arena. He did not agree with the other party's decision to give up. If it were Xiao Chun, no matter how strong his opponent was, he would have to give it a try before he would know. Cowering before a fight would greatly affect the sharpness in a cultivator's heart. If this continued for a long time, that sharpness would completely disappear. Even if his cultivation improved in the future, his combat prowess would not increase by much. Cultivators were not afraid of failure. What they were afraid of was losing their sharpness, losing that pride in their heart. After the first round of drawing lots ended, the second round of drawing lots started. However, Xiao Chun was disappointed. His second opponent chose to give up again. This continued all the way until the fifth match started. Only then did Xiao Chun officially meet with an opponent. His opponent was none other than the Myriad Fiend Palace's Zhang Zimo. Zhang Zimo looked at Xiao Chun in the arena and smiled. How helpless. I still ended up meeting you. Let's stop here. There is no need to hurt our friendship. Xiao Chun smiled faintly and said, That is exactly what I was thinking. Make your move. Zhang Zimo nodded and said, Sorry for the offense. Hu Qi. Zhang Zimo pushed off the ground and sent out an intense palm wind at Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun knew the uniqueness of Zhang Zimo's martial technique. From the moment he started, he would use his full power. If Xiao Chun held back too much, once he was at a disadvantage, it would be hard for him to turn the situation around. So he immediately drew his lunar shadow saber. Bang! The dense palm winds clashed with the unending saber qi, producing a loud sound. Horrifying shockwaves spread out in all directions in the arena. Zhang Zimo sent out 3 palm strikes using his full power. He broke Xiao Chun's saber light and was about to press forward. When a cultivator used their fist or palm against a cultivator who used a weapon, they would be at an innate disadvantage. This was the principle of the longer one was, the stronger one was. However, once the opponent got close, the weapon would lose its effect and the situation would turn around. Naturally, Xiao Chun understood this principle. As he moved, he brandished his saber continuously. He executed all sorts of martial techniques to prevent his opponent from getting close. The two of them moved quickly on the arena. They both executed their exquisite movement techniques. Soon they exchanged dozens of moves. Both of them advanced and retreated. The two of them were very cautious. The battle slowly entered a stalemate. Only Zhang Zimo dares to not admit defeat against Xiao Chun. Just thinking about it makes me feel sullen. I have been in this world for more than 10 years, and I have never admitted defeat before a fight. Today I met with Xiao Chun. I do not even have the courage to fight. I am the same. When I see him, I think of his fight with Xie Ziwen. You all know how strong Xie Ziwen is. In the end, he still lost to him. How could I dare to continue fighting? Let's just pray that we do not get Xiao Chun. Even if it is Zuemo, I will not take the initiative to admit defeat. When the group of people watched the fight between Xiao Chun and Zhang Zimo, they were shocked at Xiao Chun's strength and admired Zhang Zimo's courage. Even though he knew that there was not much hope, he still dared to make a move. When they thought about themselves, the gap between them was obvious. They could only sigh helplessly. The battle continued for another hour. Xiao Chun slowly discovered some problems. It seemed like he had fallen for Zhang Zimo's tricks. The moment Xiao Chun entered the arena, Zhang Zimo used his full strength. Although Xiao Chun's essence was abundant, he did not have the strange cultivation technique that his opponent had. In terms of endurance, he would not be able to last longer than Zhang Zimo. If this stalemate continued, the one who would have the last laugh would definitely be Zhang Zimo. Xiao Chun reacted and quickly thought of a countermeasure. After exchanging dozens of moves, Xiao Chun made a decision. He decided to give it his all. A arclight chop forced his opponent back. Xiao Chun placed his saber on the ground and circulated his vital qi in his left arm. An azure light started to gather as he rushed forward. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.